got the signals for the Baltimore Colts. Unitas gives to Amici. The Colts are the world champions. Amici scores.
It's amazing, sensational, dramatic, heart-rending, exciting, thrilling finish in the history of college football. California has won the big game. 5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Unbelievable.
This is Phil Steele.
This is Mike Burnham.
This is Wes Durham.
This is Mike Ashley.
Hi, this is Chuck Foreman, number 44 of the Minnesota Vikings.
Woo, mercy, this is handsome Jimmy Vine, the Boogie Woogie Man.
This is Coach Fry with Virginia Tech football, and you are listening to Big Dog Sports Talk.
Are you ready to rock? Are you ready to roll? Okay, let's do it.
You're in the Doghouse with Rick Watson on Big Dog Sports Talk, presented by Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment. Join us in the Family Fencing Studios and chime in on the McClellan Chiropractic chat line. He's keeping cool with help from Little River Heating and Air, but this show is straight fire. And now, the big dog, Rick Watson.
Hey, good morning. How are you? It is Thursday. Hope you're doing well, wherever you might be. Another brisk start to the day here in the NRV, to say the least. Hey, at least we broke into the 50s barrier. That's great. That's great. Hit us up on the McClellan Chiropractic chat room. Send your comments. That's awesome. Love to hear from you. Talk to some folks this morning. And hit us up as well on the BDST text line, as many of you do. 540-391-0788. There it is, scrolling at the bottom. 540-391-0788. We got a lot going on today, my goodness. Woo! A lot of show. Brian Seigla from the Boundary Corner podcast. You know, it's game week. Strange-looking bug on top of my camera. Oh, that's great. He'll join us at 6:45. Andy Bitter from Tech Sideline at 7. Bill Roth, the voice of Virginia Tech football, at 7:30. And then Dwight Vick will break down some of the things he expects to see out of this team. Nothing like game week and talking to Dwight Vick. I mean, he sees the game in a different light. So all that's coming up today on the program here live from our Family Fencing Studios. Appreciate all the folks at Family Fencing. Give them a call, 540-200-8294, familyfencingnrv.com. Locally owned and operated. They have finance options available, free quotes, and no-dig installation system. Won't tear up your yard like a lot of people do, as I've just experienced here with the new cable whatever run, fiber optics run they put in everybody's yard without any kind of warning or explanation. Just here you go. They're locally owned, again, as I mentioned, aluminum, vinyl, wood, chain link for residential, commercial, and agricultural fencing. Call Jason Green and those guys at Family Fencing. We mentioned the ticker, a live chat, McClellan Chiropractic. Thanks to them for jumping on board and being with us. Of course, each and every day, BDST is presented by Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment. Thanks to Jonathan Sweet, Tim Miller, and those guys. Looking forward to getting into everything that they're doing for the county. Thanks to Little River Heating and Air, 1095 Radford Street in Christiansburg. Go see Charles Lee and the crew. They are awesome. And we're very excited to have National Bank, member FDIC. I got to add that to the exclusive, as an exclusive banking partner of BDST here on YouTube. And keep hitting us up on the BDST Fan Question of the Week, brought to you by Ryan Price, 701 West Main Street in Radford. What college football rivalry? It didn't have to be a rivalry game. Let me just change it. What college football game did you like to watch every year going forward when two teams played? We've got some good answers. And like we did last week, we'll unveil that tomorrow. It's been a nice addition to the program to have the Fan Question of the Week. So I think that takes care of business. If I'm not mistaken. I think that's right. So, yeah, we got a lot going on today, and we're glad to have you with us. And let's jump in the chat room and talk some things to update you on here on the show. We are now taking the next step into T-shirt development. So I have someone who's mocking it up. We're going to try to work out a nice deal. So appreciate that. Rodney Young, thank you if you're watching already for giving me the contact. So we're going to incorporate the main logo that, people said that they really liked. Just to get you updated, I'm getting asked about it. So it's going to be this. Well, this. See it up there? Let me take me down first. Put the QR code to subscribe. Please subscribe. By the way, it's been a good week for subscribers, but we need more. Got to get more. We've added roughly 45 subscribers this week. Yeah. And that is a large credit to you for spreading the word and for letting people know it's, yeah. Absolutely. Just remind people that it's free. We're not nearly there where we need to be. We're about mid 360s, but we need to get up to 500 is the goal. I love the way they encourage you by giving you something that you feel like, but we'll get there because we can get there together, and I'll need you to help me get there. So it's been a good week for that, but continue to spread the word and go back and watch videos, watch, subscribe, pass it along, let people know it's free. It's football season. Should be watching a sports show. Speaking of sports, this morning, a little later, if you go to the Big Dog Sports Talk with Rick Watson YouTube channel, you'll see the debut of the 4th and Goal show. We recorded that earlier in the week, myself and Jermaine Farrell, so that will launch today. So check it out. It'll be up. You'll see it. It'll be under the videos section. I don't know how they separate. I think this is considered live, even though it's there and you can go back and watch it. But yeah, so that's coming out today. Week 1 of high school football that actually gets underway this evening. Let me find the schedule for you here. But there's actually some games tonight, not many. And I guess a lot of it has to do with the officiating shortage and so forth. But there's one game tonight. Amherst, the Lancers, David Smith's Amherst Lancers, taking on Sharando on the road. And then everything else is tomorrow. I mean, what an opening night. EC Glass in Salem tomorrow night. Lord Botetourt and Rustburg. George Wythe and Radford. Galax and Glenver, Franklin County and Bassett, Carroll County and Christiansburg. Second team's the home team, by the way. Appomattox against Brookville. Mark Lindenberg, go Bees. Verina coming down to take on William Fleming. Narrows and Floyd County. Cave Spring, William Byrd, Pulaski County, go Cougars at Northside. Blacksburg and Giles, Gretna, Jefferson Forest, Marion, Chilhowie, Fort Chiswell and Rural Retreat, Stanton River, Hidden Valley, William Campbell, Liberty, Eastmont and Holston, Grayson County will head down to Allegheny, North Carolina. Wow. And then, of course, here, tomorrow night, it's going to be a big night, James River coming to Auburn for the season opener. So we'll get into all that with Jermaine coming up on the 4th and Goal show, presented by National Bank, by the way. Good morning, Rodney, in the chat room. Good morning, Jimmy. It says, go Big Blue Demons. Love the chat room. It's great to talk to people. It's outstanding. Hey, Jason, good morning. Thanks to all the fun folks at Family Fencing. So, yeah, high school football's here. Check out my second it almost sounds presumptuous to call it a piece, as if I'm some kind of writer. My second column will be coming out in the Patriot tomorrow. And I just talk about this time of year and what it means. or what it means to me. And I think a lot of people feel the same way. How the air just all of a sudden, right, just happened to get kind of brisk, filling up breeze in the evenings. Nah. See, Mother Nature's not immune to the changing of football season. It just goes, oh, yes, that time. Snap, here we go. Feels great. It's going to be great tomorrow night. And so that comes out tomorrow. I want to thank Mike Williams and everybody at the Patriot for their support. They did a great piece on the new show. That was outstanding. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. And for the opportunity just to, write my own quips every week. Hopefully you check them out and hopefully you find them entertaining. You might not. Hopefully you do. But that'll be tomorrow. Got really good feedback from the one last week with Coach Lindenberg. I wrote about Coach Lindenberg. Another question I get all the time is my background. It's so funny. I appreciate everybody taking ownership. Thank you. Means you care. Mike Palmer says he's got my shelf issue taken care of. He's going to take care of it. So I'm just going to trust him. I know I've seen some of the other work that he does. Anybody who knows Mike, I always marvel at people that are so creative in how they can either build things and structure things. So Mike, we're going to have it. I want to get all this cool stuff up, some of it, and we're going to change it around. It's going to block out my Randy Gradishar jersey a little bit, but I figure it's going to be like here, I don't know. We'll let them handle it. Let the pros handle it. I got the Tech helmet, I've got the Mount St. Mary's jersey from Coach Lynn. I want to have all this stuff up. So we're working on that. People in the on the text line. ETA for T-shirts. I don't know. The mock-ups, I think, will get to me next week. And we'll decide. I'm letting the T-shirt people be the T-shirt people. I don't know. I've never designed a T-shirt. What do I know? I come on every day here and I click the button to come on and I just hope that it works. Hey, we still good? Hey. Because keep in mind, all we are is one power outage or one internet interruption away from being off. And if that happens, just be patient. We'll get it back as quickly as possible. And my plan is, by the way, I haven't said this reminder in too long. If that ever happens and you miss the show just disappears for the rest of the time, which could happen. My goal is to come back that evening and kind of finish off that day's show if I'm available to do so, depending on where we are in the show. So just know that just like in anything else, we're susceptible to the electricity and to things working. And if something were to happen, then we would finish the show later. So just hang in there with me. What I will do at that point, you can run to the Facebook page because the phone would still work. And maybe I could go live via phone. That's a possibility. There is a way to do that. It wouldn't look the same, but you could still be on. I don't know. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. Who knows? Who knows? But it's been a good week. It's been a fun week. People still talking about the show with Coach Ragsdale and Marty. We've had nearly 1,400 views. Blows my mind. Thank you so much. And that kind of thing will help out a lot with the dude who bothers me all the time about my channel. Yeah, 1,400. So we're hopefully making progress in that regard. Okay. Just got to get the subscriber thing going and going and going. So there you go. That's the updates. Did not forget about the T-shirts. Just trying to work out something that makes sense. This is a startup operation. It's not like I'm sitting here. I don't have a lot of heavily funded investors. Hey, what do you need? How much cash do you need? Hey. So we're doing the best we can. So keep an eye out for that coming up. But we're loaded today to get you primed and ready. College football actually hits tonight. It doesn't feel the same. I don't think we care as much as long as we have games. I think the traditional part of it's kind of been thrown out the window. We've had to get used to that as sports fans, no matter what sport it is, especially if you're a baseball fan and everything. The traditions of baseball have just been kind of destroyed. destroyed. But Boise State and South Florida will get it underway later this late afternoon, 5:30. Boise State's number 25 in the poll. Not an easy task, though. They head all the way down to Raymond James in Florida. It's a long travel. First game. A lot of games. Ohio University, the Bobcats, and Rutgers, a team that, Tech lost to each of the last 2 years. I'm going to be interested in the East Carolina-NC State game. That's tonight at 7. It's on the ACC network. They got into the big brawl last year in their bowl game. Keep an eye out for that one. What else? Wyoming and Akron. The Cowboys and the Zips. Wyoming in those spectacular brown and gold uniforms like my Padres. Duke at home against Elon. Landon Clark, former Radford Bobcat, going to start for Elon. That guy was just different, man. That dude was a good football player. Going to be starting. Good for him. Ronnie says, you mean you're not loaded with cash? Correct. Buffalo, Minnesota. The Bison against the Gophers. Minnesota 17.5-point favorites. By the way, Duke 34.5. And I had people ask me to read the point spread. I haven't been doing that, have I? Wyoming 5.5 points over Akron. NC State's 14.5 over East Carolina. Rutgers 15.5 over Ohio. Boise State only 5.5 over South Florida. Just saying. The later game tonight's pretty cool now. Big 10, Big 12, Nebraska and Cincinnati. That's at Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City, Missouri. Nebraska's 6.5-point favorites. People think Matt Rule's team's going to make a big jump. I know Phil still likes Nebraska. So those are your games here on this Thursday. So that's a pretty good slate. It's not bad. It's there's a couple of ACC teams in there that you're going to look at and, get a chance. I think NC State and Tech play each other, right? So future opponent. See how Dave Dorn lines them up. So, yeah. Good stuff. And that's tonight. That's the Thursday night slate of college football. It'll just be fun. It'll be fun is when everybody gets home from work. And I work. I'm not complaining. It's my job. But, I work all day tomorrow and tomorrow evening. We have a volleyball tournament we're hosting at Radford. You want to come down and watch some free volleyball? Come on out. We got 3 teams coming. We've got Eastern Michigan, Missouri, Kansas City, and Marshall, the Herd, coming to the Dedman Center. So we'll be broadcasting on ESPN Plus all day tomorrow. 2 games on Saturday. And then we have soccer on Sunday. So I'll be busy this first college football weekend, but I'll be following in-depthly. I sent Jen our picks. And she gets mad at me. She always says, don't wait till Wednesday. So, of course, what did I do? I sent them Wednesday evening. And I don't mean to. I'm not trying to be that guy. But, she didn't respond. You know how I know she's miffed? Usually when I send her the pics on Tuesday, I get like a little heart, like a little response. I sent them like last night, so she got them, and I know she didn't send anything because she's angry. She'll be with us tomorrow for our first week of game picks. She's never beaten me in the 15 years we've done it, by the way. Kudos to her for trying. Oh, okay, I missed that one, Rodney. Thank you. Gate City and Richlands. Ooh, high school game as well. Richlands, aren't they the Blue Tornadoes? Is that right? Blue Tornado? What a great name. Is that right? I don't want to mess up somebody's name. Aren't they the Blue Tornado? Because you see, they're blue. Yeah, Jack Turner. Not Jack Turner. By the way, I'm working on getting Jack Turner on the show. Jack always listens to the show. Blue Tornado is correct. Thank you, Rodney. Todd Grantham, the best high school football player I ever went up against, will make his debut tonight. Is that tonight? That's tonight, isn't it, Jimmy? Oklahoma State against UT Martin. Is that tonight? Yeah, there we go. Cowpokes 20.5-point favorite. So good luck to Todd Grantham on game day. Don't mess with TG on game day. Hoping to get him on here in the near future, like during their bye week, as he starts his new gig officially tonight. Well, he's been there. You know what I mean. Game one. It doesn't matter the opponent. Game one is special, you know. Oklahoma State's been down recently. Might be the last. Mike Gundy's earned a lot. He's earned a lot of length, but he needs to have a little bit of a bounce back year, I think, down there in Oklahoma State. So yeah, some good stuff. The Blue Tornado confirmed. Gate City and Richlands. Gate City's blue too, aren't they? Are they blue? Haven't seen Gate City in years. Used to play them in the playoffs when I was calling games for the Radford Bobcats. Inevitably, by the way, this time of year, the cold air has gotten into my lungs a little bit, so sometimes I may have the sniffles. So if I do that, I will do this with the mic or with my video, and then I'll mute. So if I have to sniff really big, I don't want you to have to hear that. It was, when I was doing just the radio show, it was a little easier. All you do is push a cough button. Here, I have to do two things. And you know what it's like when you're doing two things. It's not easy. Things get a little harder, to say the least. But I am. I'm stoked for college football. I know BDST legal counsel Richie Davis called me yesterday, invited me out to go with him. He's leaving. And I work all weekend. He got mad, called me names. But I'm working Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. There's not much I can do. I would love, Richie, I would love to jump in the vehicle and drive down there with you. Richie and I had one of the best road trips I've ever had in my life. First run of the show. When we went to see Tech play Nebraska, beat them, courtesy of Tyrod Taylor. Hang out with some of the best fans I've ever been around, Nebraska fan. Then the next day, we drove, I think we got up and drove the next morning to Kansas City and watched beloved Broncos lose to Kansas City and Arrowhead. So, great trip. And I would go, Richie, I would, because that would have been a great video. I could just take the phone, go live. The go live function, man, I would have just gone live on the channel. But, you have responsibilities. You can't do that. But I do appreciate it, BDST Legal Counsel, you inviting me to go. And I hope you have a great time. Feel free, by the way, Rich, you take video. We'll run it here. We'll run it on the show. We got to get Richie to find Jen. I know Jen's doing something with Will. Can't leave her alone for 10 seconds. But we'll see if we can get Richie to get us some video. So that'd be fun. That would be fun. And I hope we can get video tomorrow night here in Reiner. That's what I'm hoping for. I would love to have video for opening kickoff. Team walks in the stadium, rubbing the rock where they put the rock down where they walk up from the locker room. Haven't had football here in 2 years, basically. I think they started the season 2 years ago, and then they had to end it because of injuries. They just didn't have enough players. And last year they just took a deep breath, made a tough decision, didn't play, didn't have enough people. Built it through the younger levels, and now here they are debuting it tomorrow night. So there you go. So good luck. But sorry, Richie, don't be mad. Don't be mad. He's already mad. But yeah, unable to go. I'd like to. It'd have been fun. It would have been fun to go to Atlanta and just see the difference, the stark difference in the two fan bases now that South Carolina has favorite status on them in a lot of ways in this game, notwithstanding, but supposedly, going to have a really big year. And then Tech is, who knows? They got the Caleb Woodson thing hanging over them a little bit. No decision has come in there. I saw where Ian Shefflin, the basketball player for Clemson, did you see that? He got caught with some kind of ticket. I don't know if it was a DUI, whatever it was, and he's not going to play at all against LSU. Now, he's a guy who's converting, 1 year left, played basketball at Clemson. Now he's playing football. Not necessarily considered to be a major player like, Caleb Woodson and what he means as the starting Mike. And we'll see what happens. We'll talk to Brian about that here in just a little bit, Brian Seigla. So South Carolina's wearing black, which they can. By the way, is what's really cool is, because you know how I am about the whole black uniform nonsense, if you don't have black in your school color. And it is nonsense. I'm sorry. I think they believe that fans and people who buy merch are just like clapping seals, kind of like politicians do. Oh, look, it's a black jersey. Ooh. But some of the people on X are calling it BFBS syndrome. Black for black's sake in terms of the uniform. Just do it. South Carolina, you can do it all you want. It's your official color. Do it all you want. No one will ever say a word unless you wear like all black and like black and white. Don't ever get rid of the garnet. But when teams just kind of throw that out there, it just makes no sense. And to me, I will never understand. I'll never understand. We have never succumbed to that at Radford, which is awesome. But black uniform just for black uniform sake. Why? Somebody make it make sense. Did you see, who was it? I just saw one the other day. Oh, man, there's a new one. It's somebody picked up black. Oh, in the NFL, the Dolphins. They're going to have an alternative uniform for one game. And instead of going with something, they've always been with that aquamarine and orange. They have a little hint of like navy blue, and they have gone with navy blue before because it's actually in that old crest on the Dolphin helmet, not the new horrible one. Ugh. Every time there's a rebrand, it's terrible. It's just unbelievable. But anyway, the Dolphins picked an all-black uniform. And there'll be people who will actually spend money, I'm sure, since it's an NFL jersey, and buy a black Dolphins jersey. It's like wearing I see all these New York Yankee hats. I'm going to use the Yankees and Dodgers as an example. I see green Yankee hats, red Yankee hats, yellow Dodger hats, purple. Why? Doesn't make any sense to me. If you're a fan of the Yankees, if you want to represent the New York Yankees, and the interlocking NY, which is the most recognizable American, maybe sports logo ever, don't you want it in the Yankee navy blue? Do you want a purple one? How do these things make money? Is it just kids? Is it just young people who think it's cool? Is that what it is? Do they cater to the market that doesn't necessarily have enough disposable income to go out and buy these things? I don't know. Wayne says, hey, Rick, but black is intimidating, right? You always win in black, just like Tech versus Boise State and Beamer's last home game. Oh, wait, never mind. And that's the thing about it. You know, Wayne, you just touched on something. You're right. The black uniform, and there's no black uniform in the history of sports that's more intimidating than the Oakland Raiders. Al Davis designed it as such. The Raiders weren't silver and black when they started. They had black, but they had kind of a gold, an old gold, kind of like the Michigan Maize, the first 2 years of the AFL. And then Al Davis brought in the silver helmet, the pirate, black jersey, silver pant. They started that reputation for being mean and feisty, dirty. Let's just say it the way it is. Intimidating. Because Al Davis said, black, I couldn't think of one kind of color that's more intimidating than black. The Oakland Raiders. They're my arch rival as a Broncos fan, but I am always going to recognize what that Raider uniform looks like and why. Great uniform. That is intimidating because it was unique at the time. The Raiders. But now, like you said, Wayne, it's supposed to be, hey, we're going to be intimidating. But now so many teams do it just to do it. It loses any kind of edge that it may have ever had. Unbelievable. Honaker and Lebanon tonight as well, Rodney? Okay. So we do have a few games here in and around the NRV and beyond. Gotcha. Cool. But yeah, the whole black uniform thing, just if you fall for it, I don't understand. Like the Dolphins, that's your decision. And if you're going to buy a Yankees cap, caps, by the way, are like $40 now. It's just unbelievable to me. If you go into a Lids or one of these places, sports apparel places, freaking hats are $40. When did that happen? $45. What? Just for a ball cap? And if you have a choice, if you're a Yankee fan or you want to represent the Yankees, you're going to tell me you're not going to buy the traditional Yankee hat. You're going to go get one of those light blue ones over there. And anybody who's, over Virginia Tech marketing, anybody who's listening, like I said, the years we did the tailgate show sitting over there, I never saw anybody wearing a black Tech jersey. Never saw anybody wearing a black Tech polo. Never saw anybody wearing a black Tech hat because I was ready to snap pictures. Never happened. No, Jason, Lyle Zato was a Bronco first. You can't have him. You can't have him. He was a Denver Bronco. One of the anchors of the 77 Orange Crush defense that beat the Raiders in the AFC title game that year. First Super Bowl, then lost to Doomsday in the Cowboys when they turned it over a record 8 times, which, by the way, is still a record. So you can't have Lyle. It was funny. Lyle Zato was such a great character. And you ever watch his old interviews, man, that was real intense. That guy was a little off a little bit, but that's okay. Great player. Great player. It's right. The autumn wind is a pirate. Still probably the best of all the NFL films music. Yeah. Wonder if I can play that. What if I get in trouble for playing that? I'll have to see if I can figure that out. I have to play that here soon. But yeah, the silver and black. That's all it is, by the way, and that's all they've done. Now, the Raiders used to have silver numbers first before they went to black numbers. And that was fine, too. That looked really cool. They had silver numbers with the black piping on it. Jason says, I just remember when he went to the good side. Well, your definition, Jason, of good side, my good side is different. But yeah, the black uni. Al Davis. Intimidation, part of the game. Let's throw the ball 50 yards downfield every other play, and let's intimidate. We'll take all the casts off that nobody else wanted, and eventually they got and won to their first Super Bowl, beat up on Minnesota. Remember when Sammy White got decleated and his helmet went flying off? I remember if that was George Atkinson or Jack Tatum. It was one of the two. Great stuff, man. It's when old man Willie Brown picked it off. That was the sealer, got the interception to pick six. Remember that? And the best voice in the history of sport, however you want to look at it, John Facenda and old man Willie. Get chills, man. The old NFL film stuff. So good. So good. David on the chat room. Yes. Just look at the traditional uniforms. Alabama, Penn State, they don't mess with their uniforms. Correct. Nike went and approached Alabama with a black uniform design when Nick Saban was there. That lasted probably about 20 minutes, that presentation, before he just said, no, no. Alabama is crimson lid, crimson jersey, white pant, 2 stripes down the side. When we go on the road, crimson lid, white jersey, white pant, 2 stripes down the side. Alabama's a brand. Leave us the hell alone. All right? Tell me I'm wrong. I think the teams that are always trying to do all this, and I don't know if it's just Nike wanting to be Nike, but I can't imagine they make their money back. The money they spend making these secondary uniforms, that the ones who continue to do it are the ones that don't really truly have an identity or feel good about themselves. That's right, Jim. Kenny the Snake Stabler. You see the old, you ever watch the America's Game? Not America's Game. You ever watch the A Football Life on NFL Network? And the one with Kenny Stabler, that dude, man, oh man, oh man, he was special. He was special. Great teams. Ted Hendricks, who I had a few beverages with back in the day, 2004 at the Hall of Fame, the Mad Stork. Went from the Colts to the Raiders. Yeah, that shot of Otis Sistrunk, he takes the helmet off and there's a steam on his bald head. That was one of the first times I'd seen that. I'm like, oh, man, that's cool. They are mean. Look at those black uniforms. Stabler to Casper, the ghost to the post against the Colts. I think that was double overtime. Only to go to Denver and lose the next week. It was Fred Biletnikoff, David. He said, which Raider used to put pine tar on his socks? And we're talking, it was him, Cliff Branch, who's in the Hall of Fame, and Lester Hayes, the defensive back. That's when Stickum, it was Stickum. And they had it so much, it was like a dark tan, and you could see it was all over their socks. You're right, bottom of their pants. They had it on their wristbands and all that. Yeah. Got outlawed, but there it was. Brian Seigla at 6:45, and then Andy Bitter after that. Just getting us started. This is fun, though. I like the reminiscing. But, yeah. But that's what it was. It was the pine tar. Hang on, let me do this instead. Be right back here in just a second. Hang on, I got to take care of an animal. Hang on. All right, I'm back. You've already met Balboa Creed, my hunter, my rescue kitty, and he's been out for, I don't know, a whole day. And he just came back and wandered in, a little chilly. He's a little gruff. He gets a little angry, so we let him in. No, Howie Long was not the same nice guy on the field that he is now on TV. Yeah, he was a beast, man, an absolute beast. And he had that little – he was one of the last guys to have that little bar, a little oval coming out from the top of his face mask, too. Old number 75. He used to cut his jersey like it would look like that, you know, over his shoulder pad. God, I've turned this into a Raider love fest. I'm supposed to hate the Raiders. May hate them, but, boy, you got a hell of a lot of respect for them. And Al Davis and what they created, no doubt. Hit us up on the BDST text line. A lot of those are coming in now. I know I don't post it enough, but I am going to do, I think, who was it? Somebody said last week. This week, I'm going to put it right here. Remind me to do that. But that way you can see it right here underneath my little Rode mic bar. But that's what we're going to do. I'll put it right there. No, it wasn't Selma. Rodney, if it had been Selma wanting in, I'd have just ended the show abruptly. Good night, everybody. Yeah, Selma comes, you know, sashaying up to the sliding glass doors here in the downstairs. You know, the camera would just go black very quickly. There wouldn't have been any if that ever happens, by the way, I mentioned if you ever see the show just go dark, if the power goes out, or if we lose the internet, I'll come. If you ever just see the show go out for no explanation, then you know Selma has finally showed up here at my door. Wayne says Rick would have been back in 2 minutes. Hey-oh! Hey-oh! Hey! I don't have the snare drum. Do it. Hang on. Wrong one. Hang on. I got to find a snare drum for a joke. I don't know. David says if she shows up, please leave the audio off. No, it wasn't. It wasn't Selma. It wasn't Selma. It was the Creed, who's now getting ready to come thank me here. Oh, here we go. There you go. There it is. It seems to happen once every show. That's who came in. Brian Seigla from Boundary Corner going to join us here momentarily. But yeah, black uniforms. I don't get it. Let's just wear black for black's sake. I don't understand it. Somebody tried it. Oregon's brought back the old green and gold for their first game, which is cool. It looks really good. And I read some of the comments and the reaction. People are going nuts. Oregon's probably the one who's most known for altering the uniforms more often and quicker than anybody because Phil Knight obviously basically owns that program. You know, he's filtered more money into it than probably any booster in the history of collegiate sports, being the Nike founder and executive. So they just do all this stuff, and their uniforms don't make any sense. Hell, remember when they played for the national title and they wore gray? Didn't even look like Oregon, gray and white. Just stupid, not representing your team's colors. But in any event, I digress. Keep hitting us up in the chat room, brought to you by McClellan Chiropractic. Hit me up on the text line. It's great stuff. Right now, hitting us up here is Brian Seigla in the Boundary Corner. What's up, brother? Good morning.
Hey, Rick. How you doing this morning?
Doing okay. Your take, Brian, on black uniforms. The curse of college football. Black uniforms when it doesn't have anything to do with your school colors.
You know what? I have no problem with mixing in black from time to time, but you got to be very selective with it. I think in the case, so from the Virginia Tech perspective, with black and gray being the original colors of the football team, I think you can make a slight case for wearing black on the very rare occasion. But in general, if it's not part of your traditional color scheme, it's a little bit of a reach.
It is. Thank you. Yeah, you're right. They could show the research. Here's what we used to look like, and then do like a throwback. Yeah, that would be different than just saying, "Hey, look at their orange maroon on this black jersey. Isn't that great?" But none of that matters this weekend. Here we are, man. Here we are. We're a few days away now. I'm guessing you're going. You going down there? You going to Hotland?
I'm not going down there. No, we've got a big trip planned a couple weeks after this, so we couldn't make it all work. With the logistics of doing all that, with work and everything else. So, yeah, unfortunately, not making down to this one, but really excited to see what happens on Sunday.
And here we are still. You know, I brought up last week. Sounds redundant, but it's the same. We don't know, do we? We don't know what we're going to see out of Virginia Tech at all.
No. I mean, we got 2 new coordinators, and with that, I think you got a little bit of an edge in a week 1 matchup, but we still don't know what to expect from these coordinators, so we don't know what the product's going to look like. And, I said on our show on Tuesday, don't go out there and be something you're not, but at the same time, I still don't know exactly what we are yet.
That's true. Yeah. How can you not, you don't know your identity, whether to be or be not something. We feel good. I won't say we know, but we feel good that with the coordinator upgrades that it's going to look more polished, right? It's going to look more like a professional operation.
Yeah. And especially on offense, I think we've got enough, we know what Philip Montgomery's all about. We know what he brings to the table from a scheme standpoint. So I think we know what to expect a little bit more on that side of the ball. Whereas Sam Seifkes, because he has this multiple front defense and we're doing something a little different schematically than we have, in really going back to the early 90s. It's going to be interesting to see how that part of it plays out. But I'm excited because it's a little bit of a mix-up here, and I think it's going to be something that's going to be good from a, getting the players, I think, more engaged in the process, because both of these coordinators bring a little bit more experience to the table than what we had with Tyler Bowen and Chris Marv.
In your mind, and I want to get into what you guys discussed on your cast with your predictions, but in your mind, what would a, quote, good-looking loss represent to you on Sunday if Tech comes up a little short?
Man, that's a big loaded question right there, because a good loss is still probably going to end up being another 1-score loss in the ever-growing list of Brent Pry 1-score losses. But at the same time,
great point.
I would guess if we go out there and it's like a 33-30 contest, that would at least inspire, I think, some confidence, because you didn't let Lenoris Sellers completely kill you from a defensive standpoint, and you showed pulse against an SEC defense from an offensive standpoint. Somewhere in that ballpark would give me a little bit of life and say, okay, well, maybe this season might be at least a little bit better than the last one.
Brian Seigla joining us from the Boundary Corner podcast. You guys got together on Tuesday. You mentioned that's always the panel of 4 there. What was the consensus? What was some of the vibe? What were some of the takeaways? Anything surprise you with something that your peeps came up with?
When we were looking at it, I think the biggest thing was when we were comparing when we looked at last year, we were pretty bad when it came to fourth quarter and halftime adjustments from a defensive perspective. So if we can improve some of that, and I think some of that's got to be conditioning, some of that's got to be improvement in adjustments by the defensive coordinator. But we gave up, I think it was 100 points in the third quarter last year.
Oof.
And I forget what the numbers were in the last few minutes of the game, but they were equally as bad. And it was it's one of those things where when you look at the 1-score losses in the Brent Pry regime, all those little things that happened in the third quarter with those adjustments, all those things that are happening down the stretch, whether it's conditioning or scheme or a mix of both, are costing us games. So if you can clean that up some, then you might, be able to turn a few of those losses into wins this year.
Agreed. And it's been those little things. It's been those either in-game coaching mistakes or just something that a blown coverage. It's been very consistent. But it is damning numbers. And to your point, I've heard a lot of people say that, Brian, that, yeah, if it looks okay, we might be happier with it. But then we're going to go, like you just said, the other side of it immediately. There's another game they can't win that's close that they could win. And the reputation precedes them. And you hope that doesn't carry into the next one that's like that. But it's going to be interesting. I'm almost as interested to see how Tech Nation reacts if they do lose as opposed to just watching the game and enjoy it. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, and I think, it's like you said, gauging what a good loss looks like is going to be hard because I think there's a degree of the fan base that has somewhat – they may not be fully out on Brent Pry, but they're not as committed at this point. So I think you're going to need some examples of things to point to and say, well, this is a positive from this game. And that maybe goes into coaching not being tied to some of the, reasons that we end up dropping this game. And it's hard to really assess that and think about what that looks like. But if you go out there and, they've just got better players than you, that's one thing. But if you leave points on the field because of coaching decisions, that's another thing.
Yeah, that's true. And, football fans and people are smart enough to know that, if they just see that and go, well, they just had too many horses, they could walk away from it and feel like they gave themselves everything a chance to win. They just couldn't because that team was better. It's one thing. It's a different thing, right? To get beat and then to lose. I know it has the same result, but it could mean two totally different things.
Yeah. And, that when we look at maybe beyond this week, right? When we look at going, back to back in weeks against SEC competition, I don't think this team can afford an 0-2 start. And I think if you want to set a tone, you need to have a very good outing against South Carolina, regardless of outcome, because that's going to play into how you approach Vanderbilt and then how you approach those ACC competitions when those ramp up at the end of the month.
So what was the final score type of things you guys were calling out on your podcast on Tuesday?
So we had a lot of one-score losses. I think 3 of our 4 guys picked a one-score loss in this instance.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I think Curtis was the only one that had us losing by he actually had 9 points, so he hedged a little bit. He went 1 point higher than the one-score loss there.
What about you? What do you think?
Most of us were kind of in that, hoping for that kind of 30-24, 33-30. We were kind of right around that, going around that late high 20s, low 30s in terms of what we put out points wise. I think Tally, one of our other co-hosts there, he was a little bit higher on what South Carolina can do from a total point standpoint, but. Yeah, but all of us were kind of in that one-score loss, and hopefully we're wrong, and the Hokies go out there and they handle the business and shock the world a little bit.
Will you? Do you guys go live during game weekends? What do you? How's your coverage work? Have you ever just charged it up and decided to go live and watch the game, or how does that work with you guys?
So occasionally we've done that a couple times. A lot of times, our other co-host Tally, he will go out there and he'll actually get a Twitter space going either during the game or after the game, just to get some engagement and see kind of where people are feeling, how they're feeling, get some emotions out without it being kind of tied to anything important or putting it on the timeline and stuff like that. Yeah. So that's been kind of therapeutic. We've turned a couple of those that were kind of fun and laid back into episodes at some point, but usually it's more of just a session where you can get out there and get some cool heads in there to talk you off the ledge and get your emotions out there a little bit so you can move on and have a good rest of your weekend.
Well, it's going to be fun, and people always have a good weekend when they check out what you guys are doing at the Boundary Corner, right? Let people know where they can find you again, Brian.
Yeah, so we're on X, we're at Boundary Corner. On Instagram, we are at Boundary Corner VT, and you can listen to all of our stuff at boundarycornervt.com.
All right. All right. Well, brother, listen, have a great weekend. Thanks for your time. I can't wait to talk with you next week about the aftermath. And we'll see which direction this may be sending Tech one way or the other after the outcome.
Hopefully we're having a fun conversation about the
right.
Yeah,
why not? Why not? Sure.
That's right.
All right, brother.
All right,
Give my best to everybody.
Will do. I appreciate it, Rick. You have a good one.
Thank you, man. Take care. You too. There you go. Brian Seigla. Good stuff. Go check them out at the Boundary Corner, by the way. It's terrific. They have a great panel. They have great discussions. They get all 4 guys on there. It's a lot of fun, man. If you're not watching it, you need to. It is really, really good. And hopefully, if you jump on there, I know they have a chat room. They have all these things. You can say you heard us talking about it. Maybe we can get some more people to subscribe to our channel here on the program, because of it. But he's right. It's not unthinkable. It's not unthinkable that we could be having a totally different type of conversation next week, right? Tech could do it. It could happen. I'm not saying it's going to. I'm just saying that it's possible. Hey, man. Sometimes college football creates things that makes no sense, And I'm not even saying if Tech wins, it's one of those things. Because I'm not going to be sold on Carolina as a front runner, South Carolina, until they prove that they can be a front runner. So, letting Andy Bitter know I sent him the invite, by the way, as we take you behind the curtain. There we go. Thanks to Brian Seigla. Andy Bitter's coming up here momentarily. Bill Roth, and then Dwight Vick. Does Carolina finish strong last year just outside of the playoff? We're going to read your fan question of the week, Andrews. This is good stuff. Our fan question of the week brought to you by attorney Ryan Pry is that football game you used to love to watch growing up, a college football game specific. Yeah, that's right. Hit the like button. Hit them all. Need them. Have to have them. But there you go. Go back and watch the old shows. Like them all. And spread the word. Subscribe, and it's free. It's free. We need to get some kind of push going to get to 500. BDST for 500. We only need about 130 more. I mean, you think about it, after 2.5 weeks, that's not bad. It's not bad. Not too bad at all. Hokey Bob says, never thought the day of talking about a good loss could be possible. I know, and I hate it. I hate it because as a fan, I will never accept a good loss. But I think where Tech's coming from and what they're supposedly going up against, I think that term, you have to kind of make it apply a little bit. I don't know. I understand. And nobody wants to have their program have to represent that, but maybe that's where they are right now. We are heading into hour number 2 here on the program, and we want to thank all the wonderful folks who support this program. Family Fencing, first sponsor of our studio here. Give them a call, 540-200-8294, familyfencingnrv.com. They have free quotes, locally owned and operated, finance options. Jason, who's been in the chat room, you can hit him up. You need a fence. Tell him you heard us talking about it here on the show. Chat room's buzzing once again. McClellan Chiropractic. Thank you very much, Mark Hundley. Went over there yesterday. It's amazing. The technology now. They have machines that actually do much of the work. You don't even have to get popped anymore if you don't want to. It's crazy. Looks great. And I get it. I understand why people do it. Thanks to Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment for presenting sponsorship of this program. Thank you so much to Jonathan Sweet and those guys. Little River Heating and Air, Charles Lee. I know we're still in late summer, but it's been a little colder. You might need to get your heat pump checked out. Go get your units checked out. They fixed me in 2 days when I lost it last February, and they were all over it, all over. And we thank them. And we're very excited to have National Bank, member FDIC, is the exclusive banking partner of BDST here on YouTube. It's been a fun week, and the week always gets much more fun when we invite our next guest onto our stage. And there he is. He's looking dapper as always, is Andy Bitter, the lead football beat writer from Tech Sideline. What's up, AB?
Nothing. Just wipe the crust out of my eyes and throw a shirt on and get on the show here.
Did you get up a little sooner? Last time you kind of got up right at the gun, right?
Well, I actually, right before my alarm went off, I got a text from Shane Beamer asking if I could email the story that I wrote about him to him. So those darn TSL paywalls that he can't get around. So.
All right. So, we're a few days out. When are you guys leaving now? And who else going down there from TSL?
We're going Friday. We've got three of us, myself, David, and Ivan going down. We didn't want to be driving on Saturday when there's all that football on. So we're going to go Friday and just find a place on Saturday and just watch football day. So
that's smart. See, you're always thinking out of the box in the right way.
You don't want to be on the road. It's like Clemson LSU started. We're still driving. Like, that's not fun.
Yeah, stuck in traffic. We stopped on the interstate.
Guaranteed to be stopping traffic, by the way, on the way to Atlanta. So, yeah.
Good idea. And just enjoy the Saturday. That'll be fun. So a week later, anything changed for you, your expectations? And I know you guys are going to have your predictions soon on TSL. Maybe you've already made them, but how you feeling? I mean, it's tough to say. I know we don't know a lot, but what's your expectation for Sunday?
I mean, I don't know how I could really predict anything other than in the 6-6, 7-5 range. I'm kind of waffling between those two. There's still one game I'm deliberating on. It's just tough to tell. You haven't seen anything with this team in the offseason. Who knows with these coordinators? I mean, usually you go into a season, you go, man, if you switch both coordinators and brought in 30 transfers, like nobody's going to give you a high rating on that. But then you look at the other rosters and you go, everybody brought in 30 transfers. It feels like this is every single roster that's out there. So, maybe they hit on the coordinators, maybe they hit on these transfers, and this is a team that's in a better situation with a healthy quarterback this year. Maybe they whiffed on everything, and it's a disaster of a season. I mean, it could honestly go both ways, and I can't tell right now. It used to be you could look at rosters and go, well, they have 18 returning starters, and they've recruited to this thing, and it's not a whole brand new roster that you're dealing with. You could kind of tell. Most of the time, I mean, there'd still be swings and misses on predictions and stuff like that, but you can kind of tell what their team's going to be pretty good or pretty bad. And this year, I think there's, 10, 12 ACC teams where I kind of shrug my shoulders and go, huh? I mean, North Carolina, do you have any idea how good North Carolina is going to be this year?
No.
And I think Virginia Tech is one of those 10 or 12 teams that I just don't really know.
How much of a distraction is the whole Caleb Woodson thing, in your opinion? I mean, we don't know what the situation is going to be, how they handle that on Sunday. We know he had his seat taken away for the time being, but you think that'll be a distraction as much as people might initially think, other than what he means to them on the field?
Yeah, I mean, it's not great to have your captain. This happened to one of your team captains the week before the season. I think he's going to play. There's been nothing in Brent Pry's statements that tell me he's not going to play. They had 2.5 days after this happened before he talked to the media to make a decision. And if they were going to suspend him, they had all the information they needed to suspend him. Nothing is changing from now until Sunday that's going to change the facts of the case. Personally, I would probably suspend him. DWI is a fairly serious thing. I don't think they're expecting him to be exonerated or anything in this whole case. They already stripped him of his captaincy. They're already sort of saying that he's in the wrong in this situation.
Mm-hmm.
So this idea like, oh, let the legal process play out. You don't have to do that as a football coach. You can make decisions based on choices that players have made, and you can play or not play people. It's not like this is a legal thing. It's going to play out. It's not going to play out till November anyway, at this point, with the court calendar is set up. So I think DWIs is something you maybe put your foot down on, and you do a suspension, even though it's incredibly hard thing to do to have one of your best defensive players not play in this game. But I think he's going to play. I do. And I don't know how they're going to handle any kind of punishment beyond what they did, stripping the captaincy, but I think he'll be out there on Sunday.
People in the text room wanted me to ask you about that too. Is that strictly a Britt Fry thing at this point, or I guess they could, Whit Babcock or the administration kind of give their heavy opinion about what should happen too?
It is. I mean, it's not a felony. so it's not automatic suspension. So misdemeanors are it's at the discretion of the head coach and the athletic director. So I don't know if somebody else will step in and do something. I doubt it. But again, that's up to the head coach, and they take a lot of things into account. And I asked him about this yesterday. And Caleb has been a model teammate and player in this program. Maybe drives a little bit fast. I think all of us did when we were 21 years old. I know I did. I don't really look at the speeding tickets and stuff like that. I'm looking specifically at this one thing that happened right now. But yeah, he's been a good teammate, and his teammates all support him through this whole thing. And he's been a team captain. So obviously he was doing a lot of things right. Lunch pail holder. So I think Pry is looking at all those things, but I also think he's looking at how the game is going to play out. I mean, he needs this guy on the field to be able to win this game. That's the reality of the business. But 3 months from now, if people are looking at Brent Pry's job security, they're not looking at whether he suspended a player for a game. They're looking at how he did against South Carolina. So I think that's the direction they're going to go. They're going to play him. I don't know if it's the right decision. Again, I don't want to prejudge it before I see what they actually do in this whole thing. But that's just sort of the vibe I'm getting from asking questions around the program.
You just talked about it. Coach Beamer Shane wanted the article. What's the vibe of how good he feels about his team? How he really feels about this team taking that next step.
I mean, of course he's going to say, yeah, they're going to do it. It's they lost a lot from that team last year, especially on defense. A lot of transfers come in. Now they're talented transfers, but it's a lot of turnover. I know you have Lenoris Sellers. I know you have Nick Harbor. I know you have Dylan Stewart and a couple other returning guys, quite a bit returning. But that defense lost a lot of NFL talent, and I think that was the thing that carried this team through much of its success in the latter half of last season. So there are some question marks there. I think I'd like to have those kind of 3 or 4 star players that they have to lean on more than the situation Tech's in, where it's a little bit more projection on how these guys can do. But, I think he's hoping this can be a season they can get even further over the hump. They were on the cusp of the playoff last year, hoping they could be a playoff team this year. It's tough, though. I mean, I think they're still picked like 5th or 6th in the SEC.
Right.
That's a tough league. It might be overblown how tough it is, and people, this is the toughest league ever, and the 10th place team would win every other league. It's not that. They're not that good. But you look at the top of the league with Texas and Georgia and Alabama and LSU, and you go, man, this is a gauntlet you have to go through. And if you compare that to the ACC, I can only get Clemson, and then it drops off a little bit before you get competition quite that good. So, that's the issue with being at a school like South Carolina, is maintaining that success from year to year is really tough because it is a volatile league. Your schedule could get really tough one year and not so good. You lose a player or two, and all of a sudden, you're kind of underwater and trying to catch up. It's not for the faint of heart trying to compete in the SEC. And to Shane's credit, he sort of takes that challenge on. He loves it. He loves going into it. Now, it doesn't mean he's always going to be successful, but he does embrace the challenge.
Andy Bitter joining us on the program, the senior writer for Tech Sideline. Of course, they're going to be heading down on Friday. They want to enjoy college football on Saturday, then again on Sunday in person. All right, so I had a lot of people set it up last week. People reminded me now, you haven't asked Andy yet about his game by game. Okay. You mentioned you've got 6-6, 7-5-ish. I'm going to guess that one of the 2 games you're hedging on, when we get there, I'm going to bring them both up. But I'm going to guess opening night, who do you have winning Sunday?
I've got South Carolina. I haven't seen enough to go, man, this Virginia Tech team's got something for you. And, season opener is not exactly Brent Pry's forte so far.
True. All right. Is game 2 the game that maybe you're Vanderbilt coming to lane at a night game, 7:30 on the next Saturday?
Previously, I'd thought that, but now I'm picking Virginia Tech in that one. I know they lost at Vanderbilt last year. They played one half of football in that game, and they still probably should have won that game. They came back and took the lead and then gave it up at the end. They were just exhausted in overtime and sort of got run over. I think they're a better team than Vanderbilt is, which is going to sound dumb because they lost to them last year, but I have them beating Vanderbilt in that game. Now, what if they lose some sort of crushing game in the opener? and that's on Sunday. And then all of a sudden it's a short week getting ready for Vanderbilt. And then, somebody says something mildly offensive about Diego Pavia, and all of a sudden he's ticked off and goes out there and takes mad offense to
400
it.
yards.
Perhaps he's hearing this, and it's just like turning his eyes red, and he goes out there. I don't know. I'm not saying they can't lose that game, but I am picking them to win that.
Now I'm guessing the next two are fairly easy dubs, right? At least in your
two,
opinion.
Wofford, ODU Wofford. I got them winning both.
All right, so the one that I'm still not sure about, and I'm going to watch tonight. I'm going to cheat a little bit when I watch NC State play ECU, but Tech going down there, they always seem to play okay there. NC State doesn't live up to their hype ever. What do you think about that one?
I got them losing that game. Road game, I got it in the 50-50 category. Again, I gotta see a little bit more out of Tech before I pick them to win a game like that.
Wake Forest coming to Blacksburg on the 14th of October.
That's a win. Win at home.
Ooh, the Battle of the Techs, Georgia Tech. Ooh, we get to see them tomorrow night. That'll be interesting going out to Colorado, the mountains. Tech going to Tech. You like that?
I picked Tech in that. I picked Georgia Tech in that game. I like Georgia Tech. I think they could be a team that could be contend for the ACC this year. I like that quarterback. I like the mindset that they play with. That game being on the road, I think it's a tough one.
Have you ever seen a program? It happens, but it's been a while. When they made that switch to Brent Key, it's just like everything has been upward. It may not have been gone quickly, but man, it just kind of happened.
It tells you how bad of a coach Jeff Collins was. That Brent Key could come in mid-season and one big thing he did was change their special teams operation in the middle of a season and fixed a lot of things. Jeff Collins was just all about image and all the dumb stuff they do in pregame like that. Brent Key is pure substance. He is run the dang ball type of guy.
Yeah.
And that program has bought into that mentality. I think in a lot of ways that's the kind of offense that Brent Pry would like to run, or the type of team, the minded team that they had. I know Pry is actually 1-1 and should be 2-0 against Georgia Tech in his time here. He's never played against their starting quarterback somehow. He always seems to get their backups in those games. So if their quarterback is healthy, Haynes King, a pretty good player down there, that could be a difference maker.
Yeah, if he puts it all together, he could be amongst the top 2 or 3 quarterbacks in the entire league. I love that kid. I do. I like him a lot. California, they don't even know what football is anymore out there in out west.
Well, they're starting that 5-star freshman that they got from Oregon.
Right.
Originally went to Oregon. It's now there. I have Virginia Tech at home on a Friday night.
Yeah, I think that's got to be the call there. Is this the one, Louisville, Virginia Tech? Is that the one you're kind of?
No, I think Louisville's good.
Yeah, they are good.
Maybe that's part of me is still burned to my mind a couple years ago when Tech went up to Louisville and just that was the worst game of the Brent Pry era. The game when they went up there, I think it was 34-3. They weren't competitive in any facet of the game. That was the biggest butt kicking that they've taken under this coaching staff. And perhaps that's still burned in my mind, but I think Louisville has a pretty good roster. They pay a hefty price and they have a pretty good roster up there.
Having to travel to Tallahassee on the 15th after a bye week.
I was on the fence about this one. Road game.
Oh, okay.
Road game. I'm going with Florida State winning that. I don't think Florida State's good, but I still don't know if Virginia Tech's good. And,
I know.
A road game situation going down there. Tallahassee is still a tough place to play, despite that 2018 opener.
That's
where
right.
they went down there and won in that fool's gold game where everybody thought that both teams were good and they weren't. I'm taking Florida State on this one until I can see Virginia Tech prove that they can go beat a team, in a 50-50 game in a situation like that.
It's going to be a raucous night on November 22nd, getting around Thanksgiving week. And now Miami comes back after what happened last year. And what do you think? The Canes, speaking of just always being overhyped, coming to Blacksburg late in November when it's going to be very chilly, very chilly.
This is the one I'm on the fence about. On this show, I'll say I'll pick Virginia Tech to win that game. I'm just not a believer in Miami. And part of it is I think I don't quite buy the Carson Beck hype. I look back at that last season, and Cam Ward was the number 1 pick in the draft.
That's right.
And he bailed that team out week after week after week to the point that I think they might have been like an 8-4 team if it weren't for Cam Ward. I mean, he saved them in how many games? Virginia Tech, Cal. There was another close one that they had a controversial call at the end. I mean, it just week after week he seemed to come through in these games. And you remove that for a guy that is A, coming off shoulder surgery, and B, sometimes he looks like the number one pick in the draft, and then other times he looks like he shouldn't even be starting in Division One. I've got some questions about the Hurricanes and whether they're that good, and that is a late in the season game. It's going to be cold, probably. I mean, Virginia Tech's hoping for like a 20-degree game for Miami coming up here that late in the season. Pitt's Miami's got Pitt the week after, so they have another trip coming up north. I wonder if that's sort of the Miami end of year skid type of time. And, if it's ever going to happen for Brent Pry, I mean, I guess in my scenario, he's 4-6 at that point, getting to that game. So is he the head coach at that point? Who knows? But in my sense, if Brent Pry can win a game like that, that's the game that they've been waiting for, to see him beat a highly ranked opponent like that. So I'm picking them to win that game is my situation. I guess I would have them at 5-5 at that point.
And then Virginia, here come the Cavs. We know that's the annual dub, probably, right?
Yeah, I mean, history, right? I mean, you'd be foolish to pick against it at this point. I think Virginia is improved. And even talking to some of the people at Virginia Tech, they think Virginia did very well for themselves in the transfer portal in the offseason. But what is it, 18 of 19 going back? Yeah. I mean, they've won 2 games this century against the Hokies. You just, logically, you can't pick the Cavaliers there. I like Virginia Tech.
Not even a real rivalry anymore.
Well, I mean, the 2 games that Pry has coached against Tony Elliott, they have not been close.
No.
He's taken that he understands that rivalry and gets the team ready to play for those, and Tony Elliott has not so far.
Well, you're right. Any way you add it up, it's a 7-5, 6-6 type of thing, right? I mean,
yeah, but who knows?
I know.
Again, maybe I'm underestimating the talent on this team, or maybe I'm underestimating the coordinator changes and the kind of difference that can make there. That's just sort of how I feel. I'm very much in a wait and see type of mode. And maybe stung a little bit by last year's 9-3 prediction, where I'm 3 games off and I look like a fool about this. But I'm more in a, I think I'm like a lot of people in the fan base. I'm gonna show it to me, prove it to me. I'm tired of hearing the talk. I'm tired of hearing, we're building this team. This team is as close to what I want it to be this all the time. It's like, all right, well, is close to what you want to be, like an 8-4, 9-3 type team, or is it still around 7-5, 6-6? I've got to see it before I believe it at this point.
Yeah, that's very fair. That's very fair. Well, we'll see what happens, and I hope you guys have safe travels. That's going to be fun when you guys land somewhere at a nice pub and just enjoy college football.
Yeah, I hope so. We'll find someplace.
You will. All right. Well, listen, man, safe travels. Can't wait to get your take on the game. You'll be tweeting. One of my favorite things, I don't care what I'm doing. I always have Twitter up because I love it. You do such a great job of tweeting throughout the game. That's still going to be a feature, I'm sure, of yours, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You don't win a federal lawsuit to keep your Twitter account and not use it during the games. Come on now.
That's exactly right.
There's a lot of effort into retaining the Twitter account.
If you're missing it, folks, don't. That's a great way. It's a great way to add to your experience watching Tech play. All right, AB, stay safe, man. Thanks for your time this morning.
All right, thank you.
All right, there you go. Good stuff there from Andy Bitter from Tech Sideline. Yeah, I love watching his Twitter. He always has good info, but he'll say something that kind of takes the tension out of it too, man. It's good stuff. So there you go, 7-5. Kind of what we're looking at, 6-6 going in. That's fair, to say the least. I know tomorrow morning I'm going to give my prediction as we get started in the first hour. Go through it. Similar thoughts to what Andy just shared with us. And I think there's a lot to be said for that. Show me. Show us all. Show everybody. So we'll see. We'll see. Sending Bill his text. So, Said good morning, Billy. I think only Mike Burnham can call Bill Roth Billy. Let's go to the McClellan Chiropractic chat room. A ceiling and a basement on the record now. Eight would be my ceiling. 8-4. I mean, as much as I don't know about Tech and I want them to show me, there's a lot of teams on that schedule that I'm not sure about either. And it's lame to wait until teams play to make your season predictions. So I'm going to go through it. If things go as bad as they could, I would say 8's the ceiling and 5 wins is the floor. And if the floor happens, everybody's going to be gone. So 8 and 5, that would be my extremes. And we'll see how the league develops. It could be worse. It could be better. NC State, Miami, and Florida State and Louisville might all be really, really good. Jay Swish says that I get the hype surrounding South Carolina. I just don't think they're as dominant as the media perceive them to be. Yes, Jay Swish. Shane Beamer's not been a front runner since he's been at South Carolina. That changes a lot. It changes a whole lot. Every NFL coach will tell you, especially, and I'm just going to relate it to my own Broncos here. They were supposed to get hammered for the 5th Super Bowl in a row. Not all together, but you know what I mean, the ones they played in. When they played the Packers in January of 98. They were anywhere from 13.5 to 14-point underdogs. The Packers had just beaten the Patriots the year before. They were going back-to-back, right? And the Broncos had a great year, but they were supposed to get destroyed. So they were kind of the underdogs up until the end when Terrell Davis just wore them out, even with a migraine. So you heard all those players when you watch those America's Game shows of those 2 Super Bowls. That was the apex. They were never supposed to win it. They did. Then the next year, everybody had Denver winning the Super Bowl again. What they had added in free agency, everybody was back. And, of course, the next year is when Terrell went over 2,000 yards. And they all said that burden followed them all year. That was the year they got off to the undefeated start. They were sitting there at 13-0, and they were talking about, matching the Dolphins. But they felt constant pressure. And I think South Carolina has been given the number 13 tag in the country, number 13 team in the country tag beside their name because of what they have coming back and because of how they finished the year. And I think a lot of times in these polls, and see, Matthew, I agree with you in our McClellan Chiropractic chat room. I'm not sure if it's real or not, especially in college football, how momentum from the end of one season, which we discussed last year about Tech on the radio show, how momentum from last season, the previous season, goes into it, especially now with the portal and NIL and how many faces change. So I'm with you. And I'm just telling you how they're being looked at, though. And I guarantee you that number 13, the fact that Sellers came back and some other players came back, but they lost a lot too. But because of how they finished in the league in which they play and blah, 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 that's, I think, why they're getting so much love as a 13 team. But I'm on board with you. I'm not sold, especially in college football, that matters as much as people want to think that it does. But I'm just saying, though, either way, however they got it, that expectation is now there for Shane Beamer. Because they were close last year. And even if you take out what the pundits think and say, the fan base remembers. The fan base knows how close it was. The fan base is going to expect that to pick right up where it left off. All right, so peeps are asking me. Hang on, let me grab it here. I got it. There we go. You keep this handy right here. The College Football Bible. And I couldn't remember off the top of my head. I remember we had Phil on. I asked him. I'm going to look it up right now. People are asking me where Phil Steele has South Carolina in the SEC. And I'm going to tell you right now. All right. So he has South Carolina. Listen to this. Now, here you go. This might help you a little bit. He has South Carolina at number 10. His synopsis is Shane Beamer had 2 surprising winning years to start, but went 5-7 in 23. Last year, the Vegas over and under was 5.5, but they made his most improved list in all 9 sets of his rankings. They blew a big lead versus LSU and were just 3-3, then won their final 6 and just missed a spot in the playoffs. There's that momentum we were talking about. The North Sellers is back, but they face the nation's 4th toughest schedule. And it may be tough to match last year's 9-win total with the losses on the D line, which was the team's best unit. So Phil, he has Sellers as the 3rd best quarterback in that league. He has defensive end Dylan Stewart on his first team, but he's the only South Carolina player to make Phil Steele's all-SEC team. So what I'm saying is, this guy didn't miss a pick last week in the first 5 games, which blows me away. Come on. Dare I say he's the Salma Hayek of College Football Preview Magazine. So, there you go. There you go. He's not necessarily falling in love with them like everybody else. He doesn't have them as a 13 team. He has them 10th in the SEC. You're right, Tony. He is. That the word genius gets thrown around too much. He is. He's a genius. I'm blown away. I every time I talk to him, I just sit here going, I could have asked him about Southeast Missouri State football when we had him on, unprompted, and he would have reeled off their record from last year, the amount of starters they have coming back, how many times they had an injury timeout during a game last year, how many water breaks they took. 5 for 5 last week on week 0, Phil was. 5 for 5. You know how hard it is to try to pick one game right coming into the new season? Let's get them all right. Yeah. So I'm just saying, if you, I don't know, pay attention to favorites and point spreads for entertainment purposes only, that might be a guy you kind of use as a guide. He offers services along those lines. He's brilliant. Brilliant. But he has them 10th. So what I'm saying is they're not a juggernaut. This isn't lining up against Georgia coming off a national championship or Nick Saban's Alabama Crimson Tide. This is a team that pundits, others, expect them to take the next step because they just missed out. Phil Steele doesn't think that. And all the noise you're going to hear leading up to it on ESPN and everything else, you listen to what Phil Steele says. 10th in the SEC. Now they have a tough schedule. He doesn't like their defensive line. Maybe Tech can take advantage of there, right? There's the first thing maybe you can look for. Everybody's talked about Tech's offensive line. 5 new starters. New offensive line coach. Coach Brooks has got them looking really good. Maybe you can take – you don't think Coach Montgomery's recognized that's a weakness for them? I'm just saying it's not always against the team. Like you always look at your own weaknesses. You don't think about how coaches can attack other teams' weaknesses. Maybe that was the case in the past with the coordinators that Brent Pry had originally. And I got to be honest, I never felt great about it. We saw it. Never felt great about Chris Marv making adjustments. Never felt great about the offense. But now you have two veteran guys. You have two guys who have done this. I mean, one guy, Coach Seigla, has done it at the highest level. Coach Montgomery coached against Tech. He was a head coach. You don't think those guys know the weakness that they can attack, the things that they can look at coming out of last year against South Carolina, just like South Carolina's trying to do it against Tech? That's why first games are just so uncertain and there's just so much ambiguity. You just don't know. Dwight Vick comes up at 8 o'clock, and we'll get into these things with Dwight and talk to him about that. You have two running quarterbacks. How does Tech utilize that now with Coach Montgomery as opposed to what we saw all the time the last couple of years? So I got to be honest, I didn't remember that Phil still had him 10th. I'm going to remind Jen of that tomorrow. Now, granted, it's the SEC. 10th in the SEC is going to be like a third or fourth place prediction, maybe in another league. I get that, but that's interesting to me. Very interesting to me. Hit us up on the text line, by the way. Lots of folks are sending those in. Please subscribe. It's free to the channel. Please do that. Most of you I know already have, but please pass it along, especially here during football season. It doesn't cost a dime. Remind them it's free, and all you do is get a little 5-second reminder when the show starts. Later on today, when hopefully I have it right, and the high school show uploads onto the channel, you'll get a little 5-second, hey, 4th and Goal show is now up for viewing in the uploaded video section. So it's great to have that. So please do. Thank you so much for all the support this week. 1,400 views on Tuesday's show alone with Marty Smith and with Steve Ragsdale. Blows my mind. Blows my mind. Someone who always blows our minds in the best way, and I'm going to say it. He's here, and I've said this a lot, not just because he's here. He is my all-time favorite college football announcer to listen to. It doesn't matter who's on TV calling, I'm going to mute it. And I'm listening to Bill Roth. He joins us now, the voice of Virginia Tech football. Good morning, my friend, and thank you so much. Folks, Bill had a 15-hour day yesterday.
Hey, it's game week. That's the way it's been. It's that way for our coaches, too, and our players. So I'm excited. It's game week. We go down to Atlanta tomorrow, and it's going to be a really big weekend for us. We've got a lot of alumni down there, and we have a concert Saturday night at the Tabernacle, which is one of those legendary venues. And we're doing our radio show, Tech Talk Live from the stage. We'll have special guests from the Hokie athletics and football family. We're going to have members of the band, and then they're going to go do their show. And I'm excited about it. We've never done, we've done concerts here at home. We've never done a Hokies concert for our fans on the road. And so that's what we've got Saturday in Atlanta. And then Sunday, of course, Sunday afternoon, the game.
Oh, it's going to be fun, man. That sounds like a great weekend. And I know now you've been getting situated with classes started. The SMA's underway. I'm proud to say that starting tomorrow, we get to work with another one of your students. And I'm looking forward to that. He's going to help us out with our volleyball tournament. So your program's up and running. Have you got to meet all the kids so far? I mean, you're just blown away. I know when you spoke at the Blacksburg Sports Club last Wednesday, you were just so eager to meet all these new faces that are coming in this year.
We have 57 freshmen in our sports media analytics program. And
wow.
So, we were all together last night, and Rick, it was amazing. We should take a picture of passion and put it in the dictionary of these high achievers that are freshmen at Tech. They are from all over the country. They want to do what you do, what I do, what they have grown up watching, and they're all brilliant young kids, and they've got so much energy. And being in a room, we had, oh my goodness, well over 100 young women and men last night, and a lot of young ladies want to do it, and we're so encouraged by that. And it keeps me young, but it does keep me up late. So, but it's worth it. It's worth it.
Yeah, we get to work with Landon Weaver, by the way.
Landon was there last night. He's going to do a great job for you. I know he's really excited, and I'm looking forward to watching his work when we flip on the Radford volleyball event tomorrow night, right?
Yeah, he'll lead it off tomorrow at 10 a.m. So we get a lot of sleep tonight. Yeah. Well, it's great. I want to come over there sometime and just sit in the class. I just want to watch. I just want to be. It'd just be cool to see everything transpire.
You know, what we did last night is we had our athletics communications people come over last night to talk about things that you and I do all the time, right? But fans may not know. The correct way to write an email requesting interviews for athletes and the correct timing of it and how that side of the world works. We talked about how to dress, how to act, how to approach social media if you are a diehard fan. Put the phone down if you're upset with your team, basically. Right. Well, let's get into it. A lot of unknowns. We've talked about it. I know you're getting excited. The butterflies churning. Game one. It always feels that way. A lot of questions about Tech. Maybe not as many on paper as South Carolina, but I'm starting to buy into this whole thing about playing as a favorite. As we talked about, Bill, Tech was kind of a favorite last year, a little bit expected to do better. It changes things, doesn't it, for coaches and players when you kind of have that bullseye on your back? I think Drones is in a much better headspace today than he was a year ago. He admits as much. I think our offense and defense with the new coordinators is, it's a different scheme, but there's also a different organizational take to it. Nothing negative about the guys who were here, but this is the first time that Kyron Drones has had a quarterback coach be his offensive coordinator. The last two were offensive linemen that became OCs. And he says for him, there's a difference. Now, that doesn't mean that an O-line coach can't be a great offensive coordinator, but for Kyron, he says that he's got a better vibe and a better connection with Phil Montgomery because of that they kind of speak the same language, so to speak. And I think that helps our offense, which is going to change a bit from last year. And this is a lot of stuff we've heard throughout camp, but you can see it. And I think defensively, the same thing. Sam Seifkes has their attention. There's a totally different scheme. We'll see how it looks when they do play someone else in a real game.
Right.
But they do a really good job, I think, of whether you want to say creating havoc or confusion or they do a good job of disguising things. And the thought here, not that other teams don't, but I think the thought is if specifically for this game, because there's no tape on the Hokies,
right?
If they can make Sellers hold the ball that extra second, that's just enough time to get him on the ground. And candidly, he's probably the key to the game. If Sellers has a good game, Lenore Sellers for the Gamecocks, they're going to be really hard to beat. And that's not just for the Hokies on Sunday. That's what we saw last year, just about everybody they played, and the way everybody they play this year. I mean, he's that good because he's able to run, and you're in a good defense. You make a good defensive read, and yet he can still convert the first down. Right? We've seen that with guys we've had. Right? Whether it was Tyrod or Brian Randall or the Vicks or any mobile quarterback. And if you go back and watch Sellers highlight clips from 2024, Rick, they're on YouTube. It take you 4 minutes.
Yeah.
So many of them are on third down. And the Gamecocks are moving the ball. The Gamecocks are scoring touchdowns on clearly what was not the play that was called. The game-winning touchdown against Clemson was like that.
Yeah, right.
The ball's on the 29-yard line. It's 3rd and 16. And he runs for a touchdown.
Yeah.
Well, that wasn't the play call.
No.
But we know that, right? So you got to keep him in the pocket. You've got to contain him. He's good enough. He'll make some plays. But I think you'd like to have him throwing the ball around a little bit more. The big difference from last week's show is that Faison, the running back, was declared eligible. So That was a big. I don't think that was a surprise. I think they expected the NCAA to rule that way.
Yeah,
the Gamecocks have their key running back recruit, they did not release a depth chart, but I think everybody from Florence to Irmo expects him to start. So we have some unknowns too. But that's we have 30 new players and 4 new coaches. So we don't have a feel for our own team yet. I don't think Shane really has a feel for his team yet. And hey, I don't know how someone's going to react in front of a full house at that stadium. Marcellus Hawkins isn't sure how he'll react, and neither's facing on their side, right? I mean, this is new, and there's a lot of butterflies on both sides.
Well, and something you told the Blacksburg Sports Club last Wednesday night I liked was, thinking about the Tech offense and Philip Montgomery. There's nothing he's never seen. And I thought that was I don't know if people really understood how important that statement was. This is not going to be some guy who's, oh, wow, what is that? No, he's seen it all as a head coach, as a coordinator. So that's an advantage I don't know if Tech fan has grasped yet, but that experience factor that he has, I think is going to keep this offense looking fresh each week, to be honest with you.
Well, we hope so. Now, the other thing is that, I don't know that we have the parts that we did a year ago.
It's fair.
Rachel Tootin was really good. Jalen Lane was really good, and some guys have to step up. Both of the greens, both green receivers. They're not green, but their last names are green. I think they have to step up. Our running back position needs to be as productive as it was a year ago. Tootin was an all-ACC back, scored a lot of touchdowns, led the league in yards after contact. He's in the NFL, right? That's a legit guy.
Right.
Marcellus has looked really good in the preseason camp. So I'm excited about that. We got some new linemen. The O-line kind of shaped up maybe a little bit different. But on the bigger side of things, I get back to your original question. I think the confidence and the closeness of the team has improved. The organization of the offense and the defense has improved over a year ago. I think they have a plan, and they're a tight group. They know the deal, right? They know what their record has been the last few years. No one's hiding from it. They have to do better. They say as much, and I think they will. These first 2 games are both against teams that had great seasons last year. They're from the Southeastern Conference. It's a big challenge, but a good opportunity as well. So we're going to see here the first couple of games, and we do have the advantage of their coaches not really knowing what we are going to do, and that's a huge advantage in a game like this in week 1. Something that we will not have in the short week for Vanderbilt.
Right. That's right. It'll go away immediately. That's true. That's true.
So think about it. So Sellers, when he's watching tape of Virginia Tech, what does he watch? Does he watch what we played last year? Does he watch what the Arizona Cardinals played last year? Does he watch what Cephas did when they were with the Vikings? Does he go back? Do they look at old tape? If you were him, what would you watch? You might not watch any of it, right? Diego Pavia is going to watch our South Carolina game. He'll watch it live, and then, Saturday they play. Sunday he'll watch the game live.
That's right.
And by Sunday night, the Vandy coaches will have all the breakdowns for him. So we have that advantage for this game. And I think that's why containing Sellers, I think, it seems really simple, right?
It does. It does.
Because he's good at that. That was Clemson's strategy, was to contain Sellers last year. And, of course, they didn't have a great defense. Clemson's run defense wasn't that great. But I think, Alabama's strategy was to contain Sellers. And Missouri's strategy was to, so even in, that I watched the clip of that LSU game, and LSU's got a lot of really good athletes, and they were chasing him around. So we need to keep him in the pocket. We can't have him running on these third down conversions for key plays to move the sticks. And that's what kind of scares you a little bit. And then the other thing, you don't know in week 1, right? The special teams, the mistakes, the things that we saw, even in that Iowa State, Kansas State game last week. And those are both teams that are ranked. It's a conference game. They have experienced quarterbacks. And they're over there in Dublin, and it was a sloppy Joe kind of game, right? It was not. It was a bit sloppy, and special teams, turnovers, those types of things in an opener and penalties. Those are the kind of things that can get you, especially when your margin for error is slim and you're playing a ranked team like the Hokies are.
What is your opinion, Bill? We had a lot of discussion about it in the chat room and through the text line, and I think listeners and viewers are right. College football momentum carrying into the next season, is that a thing, or is that something now with all the change and the roster of 30 new players across the country, average probably, right? Every roster. Can you base anything or as much on as you would like to, I guess, as a fan or prognosticator?
I guess that would be a great question for a coach.
Yeah.
I think that in the old days, meaning pre-transfer portal and player movement, what happened at Florida State last year probably doesn't happen, right? You have a 12-0 team in 23, and then you go 2-10 in 24,
right?
And one of the reasons is how you assemble a team is different. It's not you recruit a kid, you get him in your program, you redshirt him, he's a backup for 2 years, and then he starts. It's different now, and so you don't know. What I like about our team, I mean, if you take a look at some of the guys who are going to play on Saturday, whether it's, Green played a ton at Wake Forest. He's been hurt, but he played so many snaps, and IBM played so much at East Carolina, and Heisman in North Dakota, and Ben Bell at Texas State. I mean, Isaiah played like 1,000 snaps. I mean, the Hokies are these guys that are going to make their Virginia Tech debuts on Sunday. Some of them have played 800 or 1,000 snaps, and they're 22, 23-year-old veterans, and that's different. So how the chemistry aspect of it for a coach, that's why I'm saying maybe that's a great question for a coach. How do you get 30 new guys? We have 30 new players, Rick. 11 of them came in after spring ball, right? So they didn't play in the spring game. How do you incorporate or if you're a CEO, how do you indoctrinate a bunch of new employees?
Yeah.
When your sales goes on the first day of the year, right?
Right.
That's kind of what Brent has here. So it's a really good question about momentum. I mean, Miami is paying a lot of money for Georgia's quarterback, but and I think they'll do well. I mean, he seems like a great quarterback, right? Carson Beck.
He does.
But how do you know?
Agreed.
Not apples to apples, but
yeah.
The Steelers have a new quarterback too, and he's going to the NFL Hall of Fame.
Right, but how's he gonna? Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. It's it's not like baseball or the NBA where you sign a free agent. If I'm an NBA team and I sign Kevin Durant as a free agent, I feel pretty good about how I'm going to be.
Yeah, he's going to be pretty good. Yeah. I want to talk about your Level 7 podcast. It had to be special for you. They all are good, but to have Coach Beamer talk about that and how he was, and then this people preview. You haven't seen it yet. You're missing out, but what a great time that was, the three of you on there.
Thank you. We talked about it over the summer, and we asked Coach Beamer if he'd like to do it. And so Mike Burnop and I, we went over to Coach's house, our Coach Beamer. Went over to Frank and Cheryl's, and it was fun. We set up our microphones on the dining room table, and
it looked great. We
schmoozed for about half hour first, talking about things from grandkids to travel to life, and it was so good to spend time with them. And I think you've heard me say this before. Other than my own dad, I probably talked with Frank Beamer more than any other adult in my life, and his perspective on things are great. And he would have been an amazing CEO had he not gotten into football coaching. He was just so good at motivating and delegating and organization, and he's got this self-deprecating humor. He said he said to Mike and me, he said, Shane inherited his mom's organizational skills. That's Frank. His A, self-deprecating humor, but B, his ability to praise others and make Cheryl feel great. Cheryl's pretty organized too. But Shane's got that, right? And so, we're playing the modern version of Beamer ball, the 2025 version of what Frank did here for so many years.
How's his feeling on the game? I know you got into that. Is he is he torn at all, or is it all just
He's
about?
He's going to be a little bit happy and a little bit sad, regardless of how it turns out. So he's really proud of Shane, and as he should be, right? This game has been on the schedule for a while, and when Shane got hired, we said, well, that's 5 years down the road. The average tenure of SEC coaches isn't 5 years, right?
Yeah.
But they had a really good season last year. Shane got, he was the coach of the year in a league with great coaches, and they beat 4 ranked teams, and he's done well. But for this week, I encourage everyone to listen to it. But I told Frank, and I love Frank and Cheryl to death. I love Shane to death. And I told them, I want this to be the greatest season in South Carolina football history. I want them to go 11-1.
Right.
Maybe we'll play in the playoff. All right.
Yeah.
No, we want them to do well, but not on Sunday.
Sunday.
I think Shane would say the same thing. He'd like the Hokies to go 11-1. So, but we got to play it, and the bigger picture is our whole season, and these first couple games will give us a taste of what we got.
Well, man, listen, I appreciate you taking time. I know how busy you were yesterday, so thank you so much.
It's good. I got my morning reading.
Yeah.
They only put together. Gamecocks only sent us 300 pages of stuff to read.
Oh, is that all? Okay, good.
No, hang on. It's about 80 pages. It's all right. But we'll talk again next week, hopefully about a great victory over, the last time we went to Atlanta to play an SEC team was Tennessee, and it was Lane Kiffin was coaching the Vols, and that was at the Georgia Dome, not at this stadium, but
right
down there. And we got them. We beat them up pretty good, and it was a good night in Atlanta. And we've had good success. We've had a lot, other than we lost the 2 games to Alabama in these kickoff games, but we've had a lot of success against Georgia Tech in Atlanta, beat Tennessee in Atlanta, and of course, even going back to our first ever bowl win in 1986 was in Atlanta. Right. So there's been some of our greatest moments have been against Georgia Tech or Tennessee or NC State. And I think Chris Kinzer's name, that was at the other stadium. That was at Fulton County Stadium.
Fulton County Stadium, right.
So we've played in that place, Bobby Dodd, George. This is our 4th different stadium in Atlanta.
Wow, that's true.
So I'm looking forward to seeing the Mercedes-Benz Stadium and seeing so many Hokies at our Hokie Way concert on Saturday, and then, of course, at the stadium on Sunday. And it's great to have college football back. Really looking forward to it. And the Ohio State-Texas game, even the Syracuse-Tennessee game.
Yeah.
I'm telling my Syracuse friends, the JV game on Saturday.
Well, maybe they'll surprise you. Who knows? First game, you never know.
Syracuse, Tennessee. It's a really nice thing that the city of Atlanta is doing. It's basically an ACC SEC football doubleheader, and cool. I know they've sold a lot of tickets and hotel rooms, and Atlanta's the college football capital of the South, if not the country. The College Football Hall of Fame is there, and I'm excited about going down there. And Atlanta has been good to the Hokies. It has been. There's no guarantee that that'll happen again, but if you're going to win a big football game, do it in the deep South against an SEC team. It resonates.
Well, it's going to be a lot of fun to listen. Of course, you guys will get your pregame coverage here locally, back on the Bear, also on the Tech app. When you guys are going to start, so everybody will know where to tune in on Sunday.
Yeah, well, back up. So we have Tech Talk Live tonight at McLean's.
Tonight, right?
From 7 to 8. You can hear it on the Bear or the Hokie Sports app. Then Saturday at 7:30, another Tech Talk Live, this one from Atlanta at the concert that we're doing. Bud Foster will be there. You can hear that on the Bear and also on our Hokie Sports app. And then on Sunday, we go on the Bear Tailgate Show begins at 11 a.m. and kickoffs at 3. So 4-hour pregame coverage in Blacksburg. Well, the network, we go on at 1, but they're going to do 2 hours of tailgate talk first. And then we go on at 1 on the Bear and on the Hokie Sports mobile app. So excited about it. You know how it is on opening day. And what game are you looking forward to the most this weekend?
Well, that's one of them. I really am, for all the things we talked about, not only because of the local interest here with Tech in South Carolina. Texas Ohio State really stands out to me. It really does.
You know what else we got tonight? Michael Vick's coaching debut is tonight.
That's right. Norfolk State's playing tonight. That's right. So good luck to him. We'll talk to Dwight about that. Yeah.
So this weekend we got bookend games with these coaches that we're not quite sure how it's going to go. Right? We've got 2 coaches making their college coaching debut tonight. Michael Vick, and then on Monday night, Bill Belichick.
Bill Belichick, one end of the spectrum.
How do you think he'll do? Right? You talk about different ends of the spectrum on coaching careers, but they're both. I'll bet you this. I bet you a beer at McAdoo's.
Okay.
Vick and Belichick are both nervous as heck.
There's no question. No question. Bill will play it down, but he's nervous. There's no doubt. There's
high expectations on both guys for a lot of reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but we'll be pulling for Norfolk State tonight. And I'm excited about watching Mike coach.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be interesting. I think it's going to suit him well.
You've got Michael Vick, head coach, Shane Beamer, head coach. I mean, it's just, we remember them as these 18, 19. Well, Shane, I remember as a 9-year-old little tyke running around. But to see them committing to this profession and trying to change lives and compete, because they're both fierce competitors and now they're building their teams. So I'll be looking forward to watching the Spartans tonight.
Yeah. Go Sport. Go green and gold. Norfolk State tonight. All right, my friends. Safe travels. Thanks so much for your time. I can't wait to get your take on the game next week. All right, brother. Stay safe.
You too,
Give my best to everybody. All right, there you go. Great stuff from the voice of Virginia Tech football, Bill Roth. Yeah, I'm going to talk about that with Dwight coming up here. He's scheduled to join us, our final guest here today with Dwight Vick. But, Michael Vick tonight. Some really good games nationally tonight. Boise State, USF. That's a 5:30 game. You get home from work, you can just sit back, immediately turn on your television, and there it is. It's on. Good stuff there from Bill. Thanks to all of our guests, Brian Seigla, Andy Bitter, Bill Roth, and then coming up here in just a little bit will be Dwight. Finally, Friday edition tomorrow of the program. Will Stewart from Tech Sideline, Mike Ashley, and then Jen and I will have our first Prediction Friday, our game picks for the week tomorrow. So you don't want to miss that. Good stuff there from Bill. A lot going on this weekend down there. This whole weekend down in Atlanta is a celebration, right, of college football. Like you said, 2 games being hosted down there, Syracuse, Tennessee, and then Virginia Tech and South Carolina. But there's a lot of games you look forward to. And really every day starting tonight. Now, of course, I look at Friday night as high school football night. I still don't like – it's not going to go away, and I know. Still don't like college football encompassing on that, but it's another night for revenues, so they're going to keep it forever. But there's Colorado and Georgia Tech really intrigues me tomorrow evening. It does. Tonight, the first one I just mentioned, Boise State, a ranked team going up against South Florida. That's intriguing to me. Michael Vick. NC State, ECU. Nebraska and Cincy. And then Saturday you're loaded with great games. Sunday there's 2 games. Notre Dame, Miami, and then the Carolina game to finish it off against TCU. I mean, every day there's something that's going to be of general interest in those games, to us as fans, and that's what's cool. A lot of your emotions, your fanship's going to go into Sunday's game. I know a lot of you that are watching, not everybody. There's a lot of UVA people are looking at the game against Coastal, like Tech fans are looking at the game on Sunday. But it just depends on where your fanship lines up and so forth. But we want to thank everybody for watching. Thanks to all of our sponsors, Family Fencing Studios here. Thanks so much to Jason Green and the gang. Be sure to, if you need a fence, you want some privacy, you want something to kind of outline your property, they have a no-dig installation system. They're locally owned. They use vinyl, wood, aluminum, chain link, commercial, residential, agricultural fencing. Doesn't matter. They'll take care of it. Go see them. Finance options available, free quotes. There it is, 540-200-8294 at familyfencingnrv.com. Thanks to Mark Hundley, McClellan Chiropractic, for sponsoring our chat room. Man, I'll tell you what, I went over there yesterday to see all the new technology. That was a lot of fun. Just seeing how all that comes together. Really, really, really awesome stuff. Always a special thanks to Pulaski County Sports and Entertainment for presenting this program. We're going to start talking to those folks and unveiling some of the cool things they're doing here as we head into high school football week number 1. Thank you to them. Thanks to Charles Lee, Little River Heating and Air, 1095 Radford Street in Christiansburg. If you have a problem, call them. They'll get you on the schedule to come assess. They'll take care of it. They did mine in 2 days when mine completely got destroyed by lightning back when it was cold. We had a rare thunderstorm in February. I got home. My neighbor said, "Hey, your house got hit." Oh, okay. Well, it just happened to be my unit, my air and heat units. So they fixed it in 2 days. Didn't leave any mess. It was done. And thanks to Larry Ramsey, the new president and CDO at National Bank, member FDIC, the exclusive banking partner BDST. They're going to bring you, by the way, they're the presenting sponsor of the 4th and Goal show, our high school football show with myself and Jermaine Farrell that will be on the channel today. Joining us now on the program, wouldn't think of having this show even on YouTube without him. He is Dwight Vick, the quintessential source for Tech football. DV, what's going on? Founder of Victory Life, the Victory Life podcast, choosing his life to help other people. What can you say about Dwight Vick that hasn't been said? How you doing, brother?
Hey, good morning, man. Great to be on. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Always better now talking to you. And let's get it out there, as I know you're so excited. But tonight, is it as big or bigger the fact that Michael is on the sideline for the first time for Norfolk State? Bill just referenced it. How intense are you going to be keeping up that game for him?
I just text Mike. I mean, he just texted me this morning. I had hit him, and then he responded. I had him last night, and he responded this morning, and he said, "Let's get this W." Our family's excited, and there's probably most likely a ton of not just Tech fans, but Virginia fans, people from obviously Tidewater, Hampton Roads, but Richmond, Southwest Virginia, Philadelphia, Atlanta, Georgia. Mike is an icon, and he's also a great person, and I'm praying for a great season. I'm extremely happy. I think the closer it gets to kickoff, the more anxious I'll get regarding how it's going to go. So really excited for him, and not just him, but I know a lot of guys on the staff. Andre Kendrick, the former Virginia Tech great running back. Elton Brown, one of the best offensive linemen in ACC history, former UVA great, played in the Super Bowl for the Arizona Cardinals. He's my big little brother. So many guys on that staff that I'm really excited for. He's compiled a phenomenal staff. And Norfolk State is close to me. My mom taught there.
Right.
My mom taught there as a professor for a handful of years, and then my dad is alumni. He went to Norfolk State for undergrad. So for me, it's a family affair. So as they say, behold the green and gold. I'm looking forward to seeing that get going. It's going to be a great time. It's going to be a great time. Win or lose, and and it's one game. I know a lot of people are excited, but you got to understand this is I'm not giving any contingency plans or please. I'm more so just saying, like, excitement aside, it's like any other team. You got to take one game at a time and lock in and really understand that it's a process. There'll be some great moments and there'll be a few mishaps and mistakes because that's just how coaching goes and players, play. So can't wait though. Really, I mean, nationally televised game. I think here in a few hours, ESPN is going to have them on. Stephen A. Smith. I mean, this is just great for Virginia.
It is. Yeah, it spreads the Commonwealth. We think about the power schools and even the JMUs and the Liberties, but now, I mean, you throw Norfolk State right in there.
Yeah.
Do you have a sense of what kind of are we going to see? Do you have any sense about the offense? Things fans that are going to watch tonight? Did he bring any of Virginia Tech with him, or has he got different ideas now from his NFL days, or is it going to be all the above?
I think all of the above, but I know Mike, man. Mike has been, we've had conversations over the last several years, him and I, about his wanting to coach and how much he loves doing 7-on-7. And he used to love doing his football camp. I was the camp coordinator a few times when he had it at Hampton University and also at Todd Stadium, his V7 series when he was doing that. And to see him interact with kids and to see him, really just embrace leadership and pouring into others, not just quarterbacks, but linemen, running backs. He's a natural leader. He was a natural leader at Tech. He was a natural leader, not so much in Atlanta but he really became that guy in Philly. And you saw him with the Steelers and the Jets and other teams when he became a statesman for the game. So, I mean, he was a leader in Atlanta, but I mean, over the years, he just grew into that. And I'm just really, really excited for him. And I think when it comes to the offense, you're probably going to see surprisingly, when we used to talk about Tech's offense, not so much here recently with Pride, but the previous regime, he would say, why are we coming out throwing? We got to run the ball. We got to do this. And I know, right? You hearing a quarterback say we got to run the ball. Like,
yeah.
And he's always say we got to stop running what everyone else runs. So he was talking about, the spread or a pistol formation. You will see some of that, but I feel like Mike is going to stick to what makes sense and what works. I mean, think about this. And we're all influenced by the people we work under and play under and coach by if you play sports or even in the corporate America. He played for a Hall of Fame coach in Tommy Riemann in high school. He played for a Hall of Fame coach in Frank Beamer. And he also has played for a Hall of Fame coach in Andy Reid. So all the guys I name, and I'm probably forgetting a few people, so I apologize, but that is a heavy, heavy influence when it comes to knowing the game. So I think all those men I mentioned will have an impact on what he does as a coach.
That's a great point. Very good point. If it's going well for him, we should try to schedule here in the future, have both of you on at the same time to talk. That'd be great to have him on. Just watch you two go at it.
Yeah, we would have to plan ahead. I mean, every time I look, he's on Channel 13. He's got a coaching show and interviews, his own podcast or something they're doing where they record and doing a series or whatever. So that man has always been busy. It was even, we had our podcast for 3 years, his schedule, and I'm really busy, but he's even more busy. But you never know. I mean, I'll talk to him. I mean, I love your show, obviously.
Yeah,
and
it'd be great.
Morning. Yeah. Probably better in the morning because I know
before anybody can grab him.
Yeah.
Well, let's turn to your other excitement, Sunday. And you've got so many interests, obviously, Virginia Tech being your first love, but boy, your relationship with Shane Beamer. I mean, how are you feeling? I mean, this is a game that's great for Tech, but you've got to kind of, again, I know where your heart lies, but I mean, you got a little bit of torn emotion there a little bit too, don't you?
I want to see Tech win. I want to see Shane do well after this game.
Right. 11, like Bill just said, 11-1.
Yeah. I love Shane Beamer, man. That's my guy. I always say this when people ask me about him is that he really paid his dues. I mean, people talk about nepotism or, he's a big, nah. That does happen. You've seen that with NBA players and other things like that, other GMs. But Shane, he might have got an opportunity because of who he's related to. But I saw that guy do coaching clinics. This is when we were at Players undergrad. Like, he was going and doing things to prepare himself, where guys like myself and Derek Smith and other guys were getting ready for the NFL and graduation. Shane knew he was going to coach, and he's really put himself in position. He's paid his dues. He's coached everywhere in the SEC, it seems like, and he's been other places, even coached at Tech. So as an assistant and an intern and all those different things. So I'm excited for him because he's earned this opportunity to have high expectations at South Carolina. I do caution people that probably are Gamecocks fans to understand that South Carolina and Virginia Tech are very similar in the fact that they've been programs that have been knocking at their door, had some great moments, but haven't gotten to that pinnacle of national promise as far as the national championship goes. So South Carolina has a lot of expectations, probably the biggest or the most expectations they've had since Steve Spurrier was there. And that's hard, especially in a conference like the SEC. Not to minimize the ACC, it's just the fact that the SEC is the best conference, or maybe the Big Ten. And when you have those kind of expectations, there's a lot of pressure that's going to be on display Sunday afternoon. Virginia Tech is playing with house money. Now, there's some expectations of Virginia Tech. More so, you got to show and prove. You made some changes, and you got a lot of new faces walking around those hallways, including the coaches. So you got to show and prove too. This is kind of like I would call it the pressure bowl. Because both programs that are kind of on display, a lot of people, because there's not really anything else going on, are going to be watching that game. And coaching matters. And we're going to see who has the better staff that day, who makes the better adjustments. Shane has proven that he can win. He had Alabama on the ropes last year. He had some big wins. They didn't end the season they wanted to in that tough bowl game loss, but I know that guy. He's going to have them prepared. And again, like I mentioned with my cousin Mike, playing for Hall of Fame coaches, look who he's coached along with Steve Spurrier. Look who his father is, Frank Beamer and guys like that. So he's been around some of the greats in the game, NFL-wise and collegiately. So Shane's going to have a great game plan. I think this is going to be a sloppy game. And I don't mean that to be dismissive. I'm saying that it's the first game, and the pressure and the excitement and the intensity is going to be so high. I wouldn't be surprised if the game is won pretty much like 21-17. I don't think in the first game of the year, again, I could be wrong, obviously, but I feel like you're going to see special teams, no pun intended, play a big role, as well as field position. Taking the points is going to be huge in this. There will be a trick play either by Shane or both teams, but I still think this is a game where you got to take the points and not get consumed with being greedy, because I think if this was week 6, it'd be different. But when it's the first game, offenses are not going to be what you think. You'll see drones and guys play well, but it's rare that you see a team come out and they're just scoring on every possession. It's just the way it is. And I hope fans understand that. So it'll be interesting. It's going to be fun, though. I'm excited.
Let's say Tech does look the part and they lose, like you just said. That'd be a good score, right? 24-20, 27-21, something like that. Would that be acceptable to you if it looks the way that it should look, if that makes sense? Even though it wouldn't be a win, would you be able to go, okay, all right, so I saw enough, and I think we're going to be okay? I mean, would that be okay?
Yeah, for me, I know in the day and age of today's game, we have a lot of delusional and irrational fans. Not everyone, but some who it's just like last year when people kept dismissing, oh, it's Vanderbilt. And I kept saying, stop saying that. Stop saying that. You're on the road. It's going to be hot. Stop saying that. And it's Vanderbilt. What have they won? I'm thinking, what have we won recently? There's a sense of arrogance amongst a lot of fans. Now, I will say this year, a lot of Tech fans, I got a good pulse on the community and the fan base, are probably more so not as confident. But for me, if we lose 27-21 or lose a tough game, for me, I've always said it's really about how they execute and how they perform. I felt last year you gave away 5 to 6 games where we just looked lost in the third quarter. We looked incompetent, and we didn't know, especially offensively, a lot of times we didn't make the right adjustments defensively. If we're in it and we're going back and forth, then you got to accept that. If guys play hard. And again, people say play hard. Well, yeah, play hard, even though that should be expected. That was not always the case, not just with Tech, but a lot of teams. But one thing Pry has always done is teams have always played hard for him, and they never really quit. It's just more so from schematically, they didn't really always execute. There was always a blown coverage, or they would have momentum and do something to self-destruct, fake a field goal at the wrong time, throw a halfback toss pass at the wrong time, try a double reverse pass at the wrong time, not taking the points, not being efficient in the red zone, not capitalizing off a turnover. You got Clemson on the ropes, and then you don't do anything, giving away leads. So for me, if you just see them going back and forth and standing toe-to-toe with a team that's ranked in the top 14, then you got to accept that. I don't know if South Carolina, and this is no shot against anybody, I'm including Ohio State as well. I don't know who is number 1 or number 9 or number 10, because I've always said, going back to when I played a long time ago in the late 90s, the preseason rankings are immature, and I just feel like it's just for TV. I just feel like you do not know who the 20 top teams are. You can say, okay, the usual suspects, they should be up here, but what order? You don't know. There's always 4 to 5 teams, especially now with the 12-team playoff, that are going to surprise you. And we've seen teams that have been overrated for years. Actually, going back to Hokie Land, I feel like Virginia Tech is right where they need to be. For the first time in recent years, there are no expectations. That's good. Last year, the expectations were higher than the roof, the ceiling. Like, it was just crazy. It's just like, what are we doing? So, it's just good to see Tech come in with some hunger and understanding they got a lot to prove. And I think a lot of times teams respond better that way.
We had a discussion earlier, and I wanted to ask you, because you lived it. How much is fact or fiction carrying over momentum? And it's different era, obviously, from when you played to now. I guess it's different, but can you carry over positive momentum from the previous season, that last game that happened in whatever bowl, through everything else? Maybe not so much now with the 30 new players Tech has, and that's the way it is across the country on average. But can you carry momentum? Because a lot of this is based on South Carolina, like you just talked about. Remember, 13 of the country is based on last year. All I keep hearing how close they were to the playoff, but they're a much different team too.
Yeah, in the 90s and in the first half of the 2000s, that made sense, but not anymore. Not with the portal, not with the movement. And the movement is no longer just with coaches. Obviously, it's with players. Can you build on a culture of winning and almost having a championship and guys returning? Yeah. But last year, I felt like Virginia Tech was a team that had a good finish to the season. It was almost like, a good meal, a good Sunday dinner. You had a good Thanksgiving dinner, and then now it's like somebody says, hey, let's go out here and play golf, or let's play a game of basketball. And you're full. You can't really move like you want to because you're full of chicken and turkey and mashed potatoes. Or you just had a nice omelet at a nice brunch and buffet. I mean, the truth of the matter, Virginia Tech came into last season full. That's why you hear the term hungry, like you got to be hungry. And I feel like momentum carries over to a certain degree. I think that's more of an old school way of looking at it because, you might have had 1 or 2 guys that left, whether it was to transfer or then you maybe had graduation. But returning players in portal, it can work if you manage it right. Ironically, Vanderbilt, Tech's first loss last year, brought in 30-plus new players, and that really did work for them. They weren't a phenomenal team, but they were much improved. I think they won 7 games. They beat Alabama, beat Virginia Tech, and I think they had another big win, and they played some really good teams close. But ultimately, that only carried them so far. It didn't put them into the playoff. I feel like roster management is more of an issue, more so than momentum. I feel like a lot of coaches have to manage their roster. I feel like momentum is great as far as your culture. It does carry over into recruiting in December and January when you're going into the portal and you're going to various high schools. You can say, hey, look, we won 10 games last year, finished 16th in the nation or 14, and we got this coming and we got this NIL package for you. Then you see kids like, oh, okay. So, yeah, but at the end of the day, man, like it still matters when the guy wearing the headset. Like we got these headphones on. The guys calling that and creating the culture in the locker room and throughout the campus are the guys that's going to really build on that momentum. I think, the knock on Tech, I remember in the last few years is Pride talked about how oftentimes we came out flat. Vanderbilt, all that hype and build up, and Tech came out flat and was down 17-0. It looked like they walked to the stadium from the hotel. So it's just one of those things, man, where South Carolina's got a lot of momentum on paper, on radio shows, on great podcasts like this.
Yeah.
But I don't think that wins games. I pick on Miami a lot because every year the U is back and they got great momentum and they have yet to do anything miraculously. Like they haven't done anything. And I'm not, because again, you can say, well, what has Tech done? I've gone on record. I cover Tech. But, Miami is a program that has great momentum and recruiting and all the, excitement, and they don't really capture it like they could. Louisville is a lot of talk about Louisville. I've been hearing about Louisville the last 4 or 5 years. Really hasn't, happened. And I think the biggest culprit is NC State. NC State every year. NC State, we got to, and I'm like, really? Really? Yeah. So again, I don't know. I think that was more of a 90s thing, in the early, because, Beamer respectfully did have that. And other coaches like him, Saban, and then some of the guys, it's not about the GOATs. It's more so about a lot, even the quality programs that were mid-tier would really build on that because there wasn't that much transition from player to another university. It's pretty much you had guys coming back. I think the biggest thing is your staff has to be in place, your strength and conditioning coach, your defensive coordinator, that type of stuff. That's critical more so than the players.
Well, finally, let me ask you, what are you looking for? First game, you've talked about it. Tech is, mistakes. Last year they got worn out. Penalties have hurt them in the past. I know you're going to be looking at offensive line play, but what should Tech fan be looking at the most here in a first game? And I think you're right, especially from Shane Beamer. There's going to be a trick play in special teams. That he's going to pull that in game number 1, 100% guaranteed.
I know he is, and I haven't talked to him. I don't talk to guys. I text Mike. That's family, but.
Yeah, sure.
I'll check in with Shane, win or lose, after the game or shortly thereafter, a week or so later. I just want to see Tech come out with mental and physical endurance. I felt like mentally and physically over the last 2 seasons, the first half of the season 2 years ago, and then last year in the start of most games, except for maybe BC and Miami, a lot of times as they came out flat, or if they were engaged, like the Syracuse game where they should have blown that game open, you could see them physically and mentally go down. Syracuse crowd got louder. We begin to shrink. Physical and mental endurance is responding and not letting anything impact your ability to be effective and impact the game. If crowd noise and a fumble or someone talking trash, you get a dumb penalty, or you're not where you're supposed to be because they do something different than what you saw on tape, that is mental and physical weakness. And it's not about being detrimental as far as, hurting your team. It's about being in the right place at the right time and making the right plays. And I really want to see them do that consistently for 4 quarters. You hear coaches, Rick, in these pregame shows, even in the movies, talk about, we got to play for 4 quarters. Fans, they probably get tired of hearing that, but that really is a great game plan. You need to be available for 4 quarters. And one thing I remember about myself as a player and the guys I played against and even the guys I played with, I always knew the beginning of the game, oh man, I'm in for a long game. Not because I was going to get beat. It was like this team is matching the same energy. So for 4 quarters, I got to be ready to go back and forth with this guy. Miami brought that like that. West Virginia, those Clemson. I could always tell these guys are well coached and they're strong. I remember, don't laugh, my first game I ever played in 1995 as a redshirt freshman was against Navy. We only won that game 14-0. Those guys were there for 4 quarters. They were mentally and physically in shape. And that's what I want Tech to show. Are you prepared? Is all this videography and the hype and the weight room and people screaming with tight dry fit shirts on and all the commercials, all the ads, is this manufactured hype or is this believable? Are we going to see that manifest itself on kickoff throughout the 4 quarters? And I want to see Tech win, but I also want to see Tech perform at an optimum level. I want to see people look confident. I don't want to see a timeout on third down to come back in the same formation and run a play that gets stopped for a 2-yard loss. I am so over that. I want to see the defense be in the right position. So if they get beat, the guy just made a better play. But if we're there, we get the interception, we get the stop. I want to see us stop getting pushed around. Virginia Tech football, say what you want, for decades was known for being physically tough. And I felt like in these last few years, we were very, at times, passive. And we were getting shoved around by teams like Rutgers and Marshall. That has to stop. And that's not taking shots at Marshall and Rutgers. I'm just more so saying we need to get back to who we are. And the last point, to answer your question, I want to leave this game, win or lose, because we have a lot more games left, to say, okay, this is the kind of Virginia Tech team I expect to see. This is their identity.
Exactly.
Too many times I didn't know who we were. Are we a spread? Are we physical? Are we an odd front? Are we, just going to throw the ball like with the Patriots when Brady had Gronk and Hernandez? Who are we? So that's the best thing I want to see, man.
Well, we'll see how it all comes together. I'll know if the game's going badly if I start getting texts from Dwight early second quarter.
And you know what? Unfortunately, you can't always read my text on your show, because sometimes I go from what is going on to beep, 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 beep.
That's all right. I love it. No, I need it. I need it too. It's great. It's great. Well, listen, my friend, enjoy tonight. It's going to be so much fun with Mike, and I know you'll enjoy Sunday. I can't wait to get your take on both of them next week.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you again. I always love jumping on. I love it. Thank you.
Thanks, brother. You stay safe. Have a great weekend, you and your fam.
You too. Appreciate you.
There you go. Thank you. Dwight Vick, great stuff. Yeah, Dwight, he's so good. But yeah, and I like the fact that he feels like, he can just text me when he gets frustrated watching. It's great. It's great. But that's how I'll know. That's how I'll know. Man, it's great stuff today. That's a lot of fun. That was a lot of show, wasn't it? That was a lot of show. Special thanks to all of our guests: Brian Seigla from the Boundary Corner, Andy Bitter from Tech Sideline, Bill Roth, the voice of Virginia Tech football, and then right there, Dwight Vick. Man, oh man. Great stuff all the way around. Thanks to all of our great sponsors. Thanks to Family Fencing. Thanks to McClellan Chiropractic. Thanks to Ryan Pry, attorney, sponsoring our BDST question of the week. Keep those coming in. Your favorite college football game to watch over the years. You're growing up even to this day. Thanks to Charles Lee and all the folks at Little River Heating and Air. Go see them. Tell them you heard us talking about it. And special thanks to National Bank. Remember, FDIC being the exclusive banking partner of the program. That's right. It's a bargain. It's free. Absolutely free. Just like it is for you to subscribe. Folks, please help get the word out to subscribe. That's what's going to keep the channel going. If you wake up one day and it's not here, it's because YouTube goes, oh, they're not making enough progress. Yoink. So keep everybody subscribing. Remind it's free. Go back and watch the videos. Watch the videos, like, share, and subscribe. We have to have it. Great stuff today. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget, go to the channel. Still counts. Watch, like. Hopefully people will see the high school show. 4th and Goal show debuts. Should pop up on the BDST channel in about half an hour, about 31 minutes. So hopefully that works. Check it out. Tomorrow, the Finally Friday edition will end another week. Enjoy the college games tonight. Those of you that are playing high school, good luck in your seasons getting underway. Thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks to all of our guests. Continue to support the program. Thank you so much. I can't thank you all enough. And we'll see you tomorrow as we wrap up week 3 already of the new show here on YouTube.